I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Don't know. I don't know what the heck is going on. They weren't supposed to have one today. Believe me, I didn't want to do this. I had plans. I tore apart my whole studio. I found a jar of age graying hair stuff. Was sort of blue silver, but I thought it'd look good for an old man sketch, and I put it in my hair today just to see if it looked. I was going to do a camera test for a sketch. I don't know what the hell is going on. They weren't supposed to have one of these things. I I thought we were all going to dodge a bullet and I could just stream later doing some goofy stuff about next to nothing. I was really planning on something a little less. It's Sunday for Christ's sake, and it's Palm Sunday. I can't believe he managed to drag Pence out of church. But what do you think? The highlight's good. Look at that. It's kind of a bluish silver. It's got glitter in it, which is the part that ruined it. I can't use it for a old man sketch, but it's kind of, it doesn't really read. But I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. See, whatever. Anyways, oh, by the way, I have to do something real quick. Yeah, I'm in here. Let's see. Right now we're on YouTube, we're on Periscope, and we're on Twitch. I'm not doing Facebook anymore. I'll leave my page up as kind of a placeholder for stuff, but I'm not streaming to Facebook anymore. So if you were on Facebook and you missed this, you're seeing it anywhere else, come on over to YouTube and like and subscribe and do all the normal YouTube stuff, because Zuckerberg just announced they're going to sponsor the RNC. What does that be, a sponsor? Christ. Anyways, it's just absurd. So forget it, not doing it. End of story. Sorry, anybody who was on Facebook. There were a couple of you that you seemed nice enough, but damn. Okay, so let's get to this ridiculousness. I had my whole system dismantled. I had my green screen down, I had my cameras unplugged, and my laptop was pulled, and my lights were all wonky, and I had to throw everything back together at the last second because this dude needs attention on a Sunday afternoon. So let's see. By the way, I'm going to play a clip for you. Let me play this right before we go. This is from a doctor, Dr. Vuong. He's a surgeon, and he's been talking. He's got a lot of patients who have diabetes and obesity. He does lap bands and bariatric surgery and that kind of stuff. And so he's really concerned about his patients. So he's been kind of a no shit doctor during all of this stuff, and kind of speaking truth about it, right? And he has on a woman who her name's Dr. Michelle Gordon, and she's a specialist in geriatric gynecology and women's issues and stuff. But she's basically called up everybody who isn't currently birthing a child or involved in brain surgery is running lines. Everybody who's highly qualified is basically downstepping to putting in tubes and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, he's talking about hydroxychloroquine again, and I don't doubt it. So I would like to, before I know he's going to mention it. I would like to play something that I just saw when I was working, and I do what I call ADD research while I'm doing other stuff. I have stuff playing in the background, and my subconscious picks it up. That's how I know as much stuff as I do. You guys yeah. It's also why I will often think that the Surgeon General is Linda Carter. Some things get mixed up on the way in and out, but I'll always check my sources before I quote something like, try it. Try hydroxychloroquine. What have you got to lose? Just try it. Just try it. So they were literally, whoops, that's not the scene I want. I want this scene. Where are you? All right, I got to go to this. Hold on. That's you guys. Hi. Go to Google Chrome. Here we go. So this is in the middle of the interview that they're giving. They are, he asks her, and I think it's queued up. So let me check real quick. But listen to this. Well, nope, not you. Her.
Who takes care of them as soon as they start showing symptoms? We'll give them Plaquenil and Zithromax, and they're
okay. So he asks her, hydrochloroquine and Zithromax. What's
so there is an anecdotal study.
Wait, I backed up. I was too far back. I was already into it.
Right. So
I'm
you
most
go
comfortable there.
And this is
He's talking about, by the way, she's running IJ lines, intrajugular lines, to just like run massive amounts of drugs into people to try and arrest this situation, to the point where they are like, basically saying 95% of the people who get this will survive through some intervention if the intervention is available. 5% are basically, they're just crashing from day one. It can be a matter of hours. But she's running intrajugular lines to run the massive amount of drugs that they need to run into these folks. And then he asks,
you guys, for those of you watching, you've probably seen where someone in the hospital has like these big IVs coming out of their neck or their shoulder areas, and you use those to give some of those heavy,
by the way, my mom's a nurse. That's why I know about all this stuff.
powerful medicines, right?
Yeah.
Are you seeing a difference? Is your hospital starting to use the hydroxychloroquine and the
Oh yeah, they
Z-Pack and
use
all
it.
that
Doesn't
stuff?
work.
Ta-da!
It doesn't work. It looks like it's really working in the outpatient setting more than anything else. And so, there is an anecdotal study, not study, it's an anecdotal report out of Curious Joel, which is.
By the way, it works in the outpatient clinics because those people are never going to get sicker. The nature of this disease is that if you're in the 20% that really get it bad, this drug doesn't work. And if you don't get in that 20%, I could heal you just by saying bless you as you walk by. Because 80%, you can just go, I think it's going to work with 80% of people. Well, then it will. It's garbage. Yeah, so like, anyways, I just wanted to show you guys that before we get into the, Dr. Trump. I know a lot about this stuff. But he made the soldier standing out there, Jesus, I thought you were a bush. Scared the crap out of me when I walked in. Here we go. Hold on, I got to switch to this page and then it will play.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you so much. Beautiful day. Wonderful. Is he going to lead us in prayer? I didn't see this part.
All these people have been working very, very hard today, I'll tell you.
Yeah, you've been telling us that for days.
For a long time they've been working.
For a long time they've been working really hard.
But before I begin, I want to express our nation's well wishes to Prime Minister Boris Johnson as he wages his own personal fight with the virus. All Americans are praying for him. He's a friend of mine. He's a great gentleman. And
that's why he gets a special shout out at the top of this. By the way, Boris Johnson's on a ventilator.
A great leader, and he's
on a ventilator.
As you know, he was brought to the hospital today, but I'm hopeful and sure that he's going to be fine.
Even though yesterday you said anybody who's on a ventilator is dead.
Strong man, strong person.
So if you die from this, you're weak.
Today, every patriotic American heart beats in solidarity with the incredible people of New York and New Jersey.
Yeah, it sounds really exciting when you read it like that.
They've really become a very hot zone, but
don't say hot zone. That's the name of the book about a pandemic.
Some very good things are happening.
Hydroxychloroquine, which if you ask any doctor, they'll tell you doesn't work.
In New York, the first time where the deaths were less from the previous day. That's the first drop so far. So maybe
not a drop. They've all had divots like this.
That's a good sign. It could be.
Yeah, but
and the hospital levels are starting to perhaps decrease.
No, they're not.
It's been very short, but
no, the decrease at the hospital hasn't actually happened. It keeps freezing? That's weird. It might be internet on your side. It seems okay on my side.
Perhaps decrease. So
they weren't supposed to do one.
We wish Governor Cuomo and all of the people in New York great, and New Jersey.
We'll wish them great. Hey, we're running out of masks and we're going to run out of ventilators in 4 days. Great.
Your governor's doing a great job. He's doing a great
Yeah, we know. He's doing your job.
In New Jersey.
Yeah.
They got hit very hard. I just want to say that the full power of the American government and American enterprise, it really is. This is an all-out military operation.
No, it isn't an all-out military operation.
We've waged.
We're just going to, you know what? We've decided to nuke New York.
And especially over the last number of weeks. 50 states and territories have now been approved for major disaster declarations.
Yeah, because Biden told them to call your office and tell them to do this. Because with that, they don't need to talk to you anymore.
Very unusual.
It's very unusual. It's weird. Does it seem weird? I don't know why we don't do that more often. Why don't we declare over 50% of the states in the United States disaster zones more often? It's a party.
Thanks to the Army Corps of Engineers, New York City's Javits Center is now one of the largest hospitals.
Oh my God. He's taking credit for, I built the biggest hospital in the history of New York. Aren't you proud of me?
The United States. It's designated for treatment of the virus. Patients
Yeah, we saw this yesterday. Why are you doing this?
and staffed by hundreds of federal medical personnel deployed from 2 Army hospital units, and they're doing a great job.
Yes, they are. No thanks to you.
This was something that we didn't expect to do, but
Oh my God. Because we didn't read the pandemic response plan.
they needed help in New York, and we sent federal
We weren't planning on doing anything, and then they called us and told us, do this, and we went, okay, I guess we'll do that.
troops. Not only troops, we also sent a lot of very talented doctors, nurses, first responders.
Oh, really? So what is it, 80-20? You're sending like 80% troops and 20%. We're going to basically, it's just cleaner to just shoot people. What?
People are now running Javits. Also, as you know, the USNS Comfort, which is in New York, there's been a lot of publicity about that coming in, and all that was not supposed to be for the virus at all under any circumstances. But it looks like more and more we're going to be using it for that. So we'll see. That was supposed to be for people having other medical problems.
Because you can't clean the ship afterwards, but you don't have a system set up to transfer the patients properly. People are being taken to the, oh God.
But it's very interesting because there
Super
are
interesting.
virtually no cars on the road, no motorcycles on the road, no.
Apparently motorcycle accidents are 90% of the accidents that Trump thinks exist. Most people in New York end up in the hospital from motorcycle accidents.
Anything on the road, things that would normally be taken care of, we don't see anymore. So we haven't seen that in a long time. It's perhaps a positive. But the ship is ready, and if it
Perhaps a positive, because no one can afford to drive, there are fewer car accidents.
has to, if we need it. If we need it for the virus, we will be using it for that.
If we need to change our mind later, instead of having a strategy and sticking to it and building as we need and creating other places.
They'd prefer not, for obvious reasons, but if for any reason they need it, it's ready, willing and able.
Ew.
We have the best doctors, the best military leaders, and the best.
The best? Are they the best? What do you mean by best? Define best. Because we like them, we just don't like you.
Logistics professionals anywhere in the world, and we're orchestrating a.
Oh, you have the best logistics professionals. Oh, that's what that was the dig. So they bury the third. If you notice that, they'll load up the front two, and then the third one's the bad news, and the fourth one's, or if there is one beyond that, there will always be a, they do that with 4 million face masks, 5,621 gloves, pairs, 300 ventilators, 5,000 gowns. Like, they bury the ventilators in the third one.
Massive federal response, unlike anything our country has ever seen or done. We've never done anything like this.
Well, we're responding to something new. We're supposed to respond in a way that you wouldn't do normally. Like, I don't know why we don't just put a Band-Aid on this hemorrhage, just because his head's nearly coming off.
And more we're using our medical people because of the fact that jurisdictions, states, in particular, New York, New Jersey, the Connecticut area, Long Island now has become a hot spot.
Mm-hmm.
Part of New York.
Oh.
We're sending a lot of things, a lot of supplies, and now we're sending personnel where it's needed. Military
Now we are.
personnel.
You know why? Because the governor asked for it, and he talked to the team and had them send it over.
As of Tuesday, we'll have deployed over 3,000 military and public health professionals to New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and other parts of our country.
Well, and other parts of our country. So he made it look like New York, and then he adds other parts of our country to understand that we've spread out 3,000 people over a 350 million person country.
3,000, and that number's going up. And we
Well, it's not going to go down.
hope we're seeing a leveling off in the hottest spots of them all. So we'll see. You'll be seeing that over the next few days. Let's see what happens. But we're prepared. In the last 7 days, FEMA has airlifted critical supplies and protective equipment from every corner of Earth.
Earth has corners now. Oh, every part of the cube.
They're coming from all over the planet, including from within the United States.
Right. We're not only getting stuff from China, we're also flying here.
Where the equipment isn't as necessary. Since last Sunday, cargo planes have delivered almost, listen to this,
I'm listening.
300 million gloves,
That's great.
almost 8 million masks,
Almost.
and 3 million gowns, and many more fully loaded cargo planes
Is it 150 million pairs of gloves? So they're now counting them one at a time.
are right
We gave them 300 million gloves.
now on the way. 3 big ones landed today.
Big planes.
And these supplies are being distributed directly to the hospitals and healthcare providers all across the nation, so that massive amount of material that we're getting in is being delivered all over
Oh, is it? I thought you weren't their shipping clerk.
the country. Tomorrow we'll deliver an additional 600,000 N95 masks to New York City to take care of the needs of the public hospital system. It was a request of Mayor de Blasio. We've been working great with Mayor de Blasio,
But Chicago, not so much.
getting him a lot of stuff. He's working very hard. I can
Yeah, they're way ahead of you. They're already buying stuff.
tell you that. And we're working really very hard with New York City and with New York State. And at the request of Congressman Lee Zeldin out in Long Island, we will also be delivering another 200,000 N95 masks to Suffolk County, where they need
Oh, 200,000 masks. Great. That'll get them through 3
it
days.
very badly. So
It's going to grow over the next 3 days, and you've got 200,000 masks.
getting that out on an emergency basis should be there tomorrow.
Should be.
We'll also
We'll see. Do I have a tracking number?
be deploying millions of N95 masks
eBay could tell me if it was going to be there tomorrow. You can't?
to other locations that Admiral Polovchak will detail shortly. The Admiral will be up in just a couple of minutes.
That's what shortly means?
Over the last 24 hours, FEMA has delivered an additional 500 ventilators to New Jersey. 500.
500. So you said 500 twice, so we should assume that's 1,000?
And again, the governor has been very thankful. We're working very hard with New Jersey, including building hospitals.
You're not building hospitals, you're building temporary medical facilities.
We've also
Jesus Christ. He acts like he's cutting a ribbon.
sent an additional 200 ventilators to Louisiana, definite hotspot. 300 to Michigan, working very well, I think, with the governor.
I think we're working well with the governor. Has she been thankful yet? Has she started, that woman? Has she thanked me today? If she doesn't, put your foot on the tail of that pallet before it goes out the door.
Amazingly, 600 will be going or have gone to Illinois. And I mean, there's a governor, I hear him complaining all the time.
Yeah, because he's just now getting ventilaters?
Pritzker, I hear him, he's always complaining. And yet,
Is he?
I just said, give me a list of a couple of the things we've done in Illinois.
And we went, oh no, we haven't done shit. We better send some stuff so I can brag about it on Palm Sunday.
And we're building a 2,500 bed hospital in McCormick Place. That's the big convention center in Chicago. And
At his request. Who's we?
we're helping to staff it, and probably will end up staffing it because
And you wouldn't if he isn't nicer?
he's not able to do what you're supposed to be able to do as a governor.
Oh, is that what it is? He's not ready to handle a nationwide pandemic that you let slide?
He has not performed well.
No, he hasn't. No, because he's got the stuff.
And we're also sending 100 ventilators
You sent him 140, what is it? Like, I have to look it up. Like, what, 300,000 rotten masks?
to Massachusetts. So we have 600 to Illinois.
Wait, you didn't tell it? Well, hold on. No. You can't just move on to the stuff. You have to tell us whether or not the governor kissed your ass or not. How are we supposed to keep track?
100 to Massachusetts. We have 300 to Michigan. We have 200 to Louisiana. We have 500 ventilators, 500 going to New Jersey.
Great. They only need, 20,000 more?
And this is being done by FEMA, being delivered by FEMA.
Really? It's not coming by choo-choo train? Somebody's not driving it there in the back of a El Camino?
And it's
Really? You're having the Federal Emergency Management Agency do it? That seems weird.
it's
That's
some job. Just think of that.
some job, you know? He did some job on it. Boy, oh boy.
When you think about
When you think about 500 ventilators and 600 patients who need them, what is that? 100, how many?
500 ventilators, a
Yeah.
ventilator is a big deal.
Ugh. You should get does you get an extra scoop ice cream? Do you get an extra scoop?
We're also establishing a federal medical station in the Washington, D.C. area to help Washington, D.C., and working very closely with the mayor and everybody in
Really? Very closely? You mean like almost like they're in town?
Washington, D.C.
Where's that?
At the same time, Governor Inslee, we appreciate this, of Washington
Washington State. I get those mixed up all the time.
State has returned 400 ventilators, which can now be deployed elsewhere in our country. So the state of Washington's done very well.
Yeah. And you called them a dick and didn't want to help, and they managed to do all this stuff basically on their own?
They won't be needing some of the ventilators that have been sent, about 400, that's a lot. And we appreciate that he's able to give them back. He feels confident that they are in good shape for the coming weeks until we can declare a final victory.
Final victory.
In the days
You going to stand on an aircraft carrier? Is there going to be a mission accomplished banner? Can we have that?
ahead, America will endure
I punched the virus in the face.
the peak of this terrible pandemic. Our warriors in this life and death battle are the incredible doctors and nurses and healthcare workers
You mean the ones without enough PPE because it's not your job?
on the front line of the fight. We pledge to them our eternal gratitude and everlasting support. They make all of us very proud. Our country is very proud.
Yeah, it sounds like pride in your voice. It doesn't sound like bored exhaustion at all. Very proud, aren't we? God damn it. Show them how proud we are, boys.
We have people, they love our country. The world loves our country, most of it, probably all of it. They just don't say it.
Yeah, that's the problem with ISIS. They love our country. They just don't know how to say it, guys. Iran loves our country. North Korea loves our country. Did you see? Did you see?
I can report today that the United States has now tested and gotten results of 1.67 million people. That's far more than any other country has been able to do.
Yeah, we also have far more sick and far more dead.
And you
Congratulations, America. We have more car accidents and we hand out more tickets.
remember, we inherited a broken system. So
No, we didn't.
a lot of this has been
You were president for 3 years when this nonsense started.
developed by
You've been president for 3 years.
Tuesday. 1,200 brand new rapid point of care testing kits has been produced by Abbott Laboratories,
Abbott.
great company.
Yeah, it takes 15 minutes. You can only do one test at a time. They're great for business meetings.
They'll be distributed to all of our public health labs. That's a 15-minute test, even less.
Yeah, one at a time. Thank you so much, Jill. One person at a time, and you have to wait 15 minutes before the next person can be tested.
As well as the Indian
I'm glad they have it. It's not the fix.
Health Service, the CDC, and the Strategic National Stockpile. So we're going to have 1,200, and on a weekly basis, we're making a lot more. They go very fast. They're very accurate tests.
Yeah, do they work better when you hold them right side up?
And other countries are wanting them. So at the right time, we'll be able to do that. But right
We're going to just sell those like crazy.
now, we're getting
We'll send a whole bunch of Americans over to cough on their people, and then we'll swoop in and sell our machines. It's a business plan. I should be able to get a small business loan.
them to all of ours. So we've done 1,670,000 tests. Think of
That's great. Cool. And all those people need a test the next day. They're not antibody tests. You can catch it 10 minutes after you gave the test.
1,670,000.
Yeah. And all the medical providers and all the people who tested negative will test again, and we'll see if they catch it during the interim.
Tests. And we have a great system now. We're working with the states in almost all instances, but we have a great system.
Some of the states are just too rude.
And the other thing that we've bought a tremendous amount of is the hydroxy.
Thanks, Adam. Yeah. The hydroxychloroquine.
Hydroxychloroquine, which I think, as you know, it's a great malaria drug. It's worked unbelievably.
Hold on. Shall we revisit this real quick, kids? What I just showed you? Can we just do this real quick?
I put them in. I usually go IJ.
And you use those to give some of those heavy, powerful medicines, right?
Yeah.
Are you seeing a difference? Is your hospital starting to use the hydroxychloroquine and the Z-Pak?
Oh yeah, they use it. Doesn't work.
Okay, good. Thanks. So just to clear that up real quick, so we can continue.
Powerful drug on malaria, and there are signs that it works on this. Some very strong signs.
No. Bunch of anecdotal bullshit. On people who would get better anyways. They're using it in outpatient studies, meaning people who are not sick enough to come into the hospital and need intervention. And the epidemiology of this particular disease is such that 80% of the people who get the symptoms are going to be fine. They'll just move on. They just pass it to people who they could kill, and nobody quite knows who, when they get it, will trigger. There's a bunch of comorbidity issues, but they don't know what the list is. They know, priority ones like hypertension, diabetes, those previous lung disease and that kind of stuff. But there's a hospital that's like, people come in and they've got the flu-like symptoms in the very early part of it, and they give them this stuff, and they're like, hey, turned out okay. He'd have turned out okay if he'd have just stayed home.
And in the meantime, it's been around a long time. It also...
Yeah, but it can also stop your heart.
It works very powerfully on lupus.
Yeah, I know. All the people with lupus can't get the friggin' drug.
So
if it works for lupus, maybe if you have a broken ankle, we'll just rub hydroxychloroquine. I got shot once, and I just poured hydroxychloroquine in the wound and just went back to blazing.
Strong, powerful signs, and we'll have to see, because
they're not strong, powerful signs. They're anecdotal studies from people who would have gotten well anyways.
Again, it's being tested now.
It's not. Oh God.
This
being dumped in people's necks.
New thing that
Jesus Christ, man. Stop selling. Thank you, Karen.
Happened to us, the invisible enemy.
Invisible, I call him, the unseemly, the vaguely beige against the unseen enemy, like a guy in camo.
We call it. And if you have no signs of heart problems, you
mean if you have none of the comorbidity issues of the people who will get this disease and need hospitalization, if you don't have any of those, then take it. It'll heal you. That is the same healing efficacy of Licamade.
Rithomycin.
What?
Which will kill
bacteria.
Certain things that you don't want living.
So if you die from taking these drugs because he told you to, it's not that you're weak, like, you're not strong like Boris Johnson, you're just weak. It's that Trump just doesn't want you living? What?
Within your body.
Oh, within your body, I see. Is Pence there?
It's a powerful drug. If you don't have a problem,
it's a powerful drug if you don't have a problem. That's fantastic.
Problem. We would say, let your doctor think about it.
Let your doctor think about it. This dude should write commercials for drugs.
But as a
Cialis, let your doctor think about it. Oh.
Combination, I think they're going to be, I think there's two things that should be looked at very strongly. Now, we have...
Why? Bought a shit ton of it because you told all your supporters to go out and start taking it, and they bought it all up, and there's none left for the people who have lupus and RA and the people who need it and are getting malaria treatments. They can't find it, or they're getting half doses when they go to get their prescription. So you had to buy 29 million doses of it to create a backup, not for the people for coronavirus, but for people who have lupus and RA and malaria treatments because they can't get enough of the drugs.
Purchased.
Take it. Take it on camera.
And we have stockpiled 29 million pills.
Why? Because it's going to work on this drug? No, because they bought out the drug and people with lupus can't get it.
Of the hydroxychloroquine, 29 million. A lot of drugstores have them by prescription, and also, and they're not expensive. We're sending them to various labs, our military. We're sending them to the hospitals. We're sending them.
I'm sending it everywhere, just to pour it down the necks of any poor person you find. Well, you are my guinea pigs, America.
I just think it's something, you know, the expression, I've used it for certain reasons.
What have you got to lose? If you don't have any of the underlying comorbidity issues, then it could stop your heart.
What do you have to lose?
You have to lose your life.
What do you have to lose?
Your life.
And a lot of people are saying that when, and are taking it, if you're a doctor, a nurse, a first responder, a medical person going into hospitals, they say taking it before the fact is good.
Oh, so now you're not just prescribing medicine without a medical license. You're prescribing medicine without a medical license to doctors. I know more than the generals. We're testing hydroxychloroquine on ISIS right now.
But what do you have to lose?
Your life. It can kill you.
They say take it?
No, they don't. You are saying take it, you maniac. I'm not smart.
Looking at it one way or the other.
Yes, you are. You're pushing people on it. You bought 29 million doses of it.
But we want to get out of this. If it does work, it would be a shame if we didn't do it.
And if it doesn't work, you've killed a bunch of people. That's why medicine takes time. That's why, I don't know, plan for shit.
Early. But we have some very good signs. So
no, we don't. We have a bunch of anecdotal studies about people who are going to get better anyways.
That's hydroxychloroquine and
azithromycin, right?
Azithromycin.
Oh, or pronounce it that way. That's azithromycin. Hydroxychloroquine and zithromebibu. Ask your doctor for Zibra. You know what? He's probably saving lives by mispronouncing these, because when they go to your doctor, the doctor's going to know why you're asking for that drug. And they're like, I need some zithromycin. Oh, yeah, I got some of that right here. It tastes a little sugary. Just take it. You'll be fine.
And again, you have to go through your medical people.
Your medical people.
Get the
your medical people.
Approval.
Get the approval and then shove the drugs down your throat.
But I've seen things that I sort of like, so.
Yeah, I know. You've been to Epstein's Island.
What do I know? I'm not a...
You barged in on the Miss Teen USA contestants while they were dressing. I've seen things alike.
Doctor. I'm not a doctor. But I have common sense. The FDA feels good about it. As you know,
No, they don't. They don't feel good about it. You insisted on it. Your FDA head is a toady. They're doing the tests, and you're wasting their time.
Approved it. They gave it a rapid approval. And the reason, because it's been out there for a long time.
Yeah, treating malaria.
And they know the side effects, and they also know the potentials.
Yeah, the side effects include dying.
So based on that, we have sent it throughout the country. We have it stockpiled.
Yeah, you ordered the government to buy 29 million doses.
About 29 million doses.
I mean, shall I just come out every day and tell you what he's going to say at this point?
29 million.
I think it's gonna go away, and then everybody's doing a fantastic job except that nasty governor. And if they want any ventilators, they better shape up. And they asked for 1,000. I sent them 500, but if I sent them 5,000, they'd have called me an asshole.
So we have a lot of it. We hope it works. Driven by the goal of the brightest minds in science. We have the brightest minds in science, but we're
Then why do we try to buy a vaccine team out of Germany?
driven by the goal of getting rid of this plague, getting rid of this scourge, getting
Scourge. Jesus, man.
rid of this virus.
I've never heard the word scourge more often lately in government circles and in the news, and it is obviously a subtle attempt to try and get him to pronounce the word scourge properly.
These
One thing, if you're talking for a long time or you're older and you just jumble a word every so often, that happens. I do. We all do. But this is almost like a dare.
brilliant minds are working on the most effective antiviral therapies and
Yeah, what do you think they would be working on? The least effective?
vaccines. We are working very, very hard.
I could tell you work very hard on stuff. Working smart might be a nice thought.
I have met many of the doctors that are doing it. These are
Great. Did they cough on you? Were they taking zithromycin?
doctors that are working so hard on
Yeah, did you view them through a plate glass window, or are you just going to shovel a bunch of hydroxychloroquine down your throat and just jog through a metropolitan hospital? Please do.
vanquishing the virus.
Vanquish. I love the word vanquishing. Put that in my speech today.
Staying
Did I miss the reference to Palm Sunday? Has there been one?
we strongly recommend staying at home, practicing vigorous hygiene and maintaining social
Vigorous? All right.
distance so you're
Nothing needs to be that clean, Sporto.
just not going to catch it. It's the most effective weapon.
Yeah, great. Don't catch it. This is, remember Alan Grayson's, the Republican health plan? Don't get sick. And if you do, die quickly. That's the welcome. This is now being said from the podium.
In this war, and I will tell you we are committing to you. We're committing to the people of our country like
nobody's ever committed to the people of our country before.
few administrations, few people, few professionals have ever committed before.
Yeah, the rest of them were just blowing our asses off. Remember all those pandemics that happened before?
They are working so hard. I see them
I see them on my way back and forth from the toilet, or what I'd call the Twitter throne.
before my eyes, exhausted. People that I'm dealing with every day, exhausted. They haven't left.
Yeah, imagine if how much better rested they would be if you'd actually planned ahead.
Their offices, they haven't left their hospitals. We meet with them, we see them. And tremendous strides have been made. I think the vaccines, we'll have a report on that, but
You don't have a report on that. We're in the first trials. Like, this is 2 weeks in.
the vaccines working together with other countries. We're also working with other countries.
Yeah, because they're ahead of us.
Many other countries.
Yeah, like Germany, when you tried to pay an entire team of German scientists cash to come over here and work on a vaccine.
And we all want everyone else to be first. We're very happy, but we are very far down the line on
What?
vaccines. We'll see how that all works. Johnson & Johnson's
Yeah, September, we know.
doing a great job,
Super great.
working very hard. A vaccine would be great. Therapy, and therapeutics would be
You need therapy. How about that? Can we all just chip in and get the president therapy? That might save as many lives.
great. We'll see what happens. In the meantime, you may listen to what I said about the two drugs
Yeah, don't.
mentioned.
Yeah, don't.
My administration
By the way, when you get into the hospital with this, where you're going to need some sort of intervention, more than likely you're not going to be able to speak very well.
is
Maybe you should tattoo it on your forehead.
rapidly implementing the largest emergency economic relief package in American
When did that happen? Oh my gosh. I got to start watching the news.
history. You've seen what's been happening.
You see what's been happening.
Billions of dollars in small business loans have already been processed through Paycheck
Nah.
Protection Program. So
Okay, so Friday, a bunch of small business loans went out. I got news for you. The exact same number of small business loans go out every week.
we went out on.
They have not gone substantially up. None of the money from the bill has been spent yet. But watch him take credit for the tides. Water came up this afternoon. It was severely down this morning, and now we believe very strongly it's going to be up tomorrow around this time.
Friday, and literally it's become so popular.
So popular. It's got cheerleaders. Some people are tattooing. They're getting tramp stamps with the SBA logo on it and bending over and saluting.
Been worked with the banks. They get it to the small business.
Is that how it works? It goes from, I guess it goes from God to Jerry to you to the cleaners, right, Ken?
It's all about employment. It's all about jobs.
Oh, good. Okay, we got those two buzzwords in there.
Want you to keep your jobs.
Okay.
Give small business funding to keep the workers on the payroll.
Yeah, we know. This bill's been, it was already passed. You signed it already.
And we're sending direct cash payments to millions of Americans and rushing aid to the
Rushing. That's kind of a big word.
hardest hit industries. We're saving industries.
Are you? You're saving industry. Oh, that's nice. You mean like cruise ships, airlines, and aren't golf courses still open in Florida?
We will be.
Who has a golf course in Florida?
You'll be seeing it.
Will I? It's nighttime. You'll be seeing the sun tomorrow, and you'll thank me for pushing it.
And if we do more, we're going to do more, and we're going to try.
We do more, we'll do more. If we do less, there'll be less of it than if we did more.
Try and get directly to people that are hit so hard, but we're going to take care of our workers. We're going to take care of our citizens. We're going to take care of our small businesses.
Yeah, and we know the Republicans and the Democrats actually got together and passed a bill 93-0. You signed it.
We're going to take care of our large businesses.
Yeah, you're in charge of actually managing it as it goes out, and that's the bottleneck.
The airplane industry, the
cruise ships,
the airline industry.
Oh, the airplane and the airline.
A lot of great industries that we have.
Yeah, both. We got both kinds of music, country and Western.
That are in trouble because of
me.
What took place over the last short period of times.
What took place over the last short period of times?
These are industries that were doing better for the most part.
Oh, yeah, okay. Glory days.
Doing better than ever.
Glory days.
Oil was doing great.
Oil was doing right. Glory
days. The energy industry was doing phenomenally well and got hit like.
Now, by the way, oil. The problem with oil isn't COVID related and was headed in that direction for the last 10 months. And Russia and Saudi Arabia fighting over this has nothing to do with the stimulus necessary around COVID at all. If that's how that industry goes, that's how that industry goes.
Nobody's ever been hit before.
Except in 1918, and when the Obama guys lost the fight with H1N1. Remember when we all died of that and we had to shut down the economy?
Just about like.
Remember when Ebola came over here and we had to shut down the whole economy because of Ebola?
No industry's ever been hit before. There's never been anything like this.
9/11.
But we see.
9/11 kind of had a hit on airlines.
Light at the end of the tunnel. Things are happening.
They're happening. It's a hot spot. Things are
happening.
They're happening.
Starting to see light at the end of the tunnel.
Why? What? Based on what?
And hopefully in the not too distant future, we'll be very proud of the job we all did.
He's stealing lines from the Queen. He's stealing lines from the Queen. Did you guys see the Queen? And we will look back on this. It's one day and be very proud of how we behaved during this time. He's stealing lines from the Queen.
Can never be happy when so many people are dying.
This is him taking it seriously now.
We're going to be very proud of the job we did to keep the death down to an absolute minimum, the least it could have happened with this terrible
Terrible, unseen, indivisible enemy. Are we going with scourge again?
Terrible virus.
Terrible virus. Okay.
In closing, I also want to note today is
Oh, thank God. In closing,
Palm Sunday and the beginning of Holy Week for Christians in America and all around the world.
he just found out there are Christians outside America. Did you see that? You watched it happen.
While we may be apart from one another, as you can see from our great churches.
You mean the ones that are defying stay-at-home orders and getting together anyways, and yeah,
Great
endangering everybody there? Sure.
pastors and ministers are out there working very hard, but
Do they work very hard? Do pastors and ministers work very hard? Is it hard? Should we interview them? You work. Hey guys, is it hard?
we may be apart. We can use this time to turn to reflection and prayer and
And meditation. This is what the Queen said. He's stealing lines from the friggin' Queen.
our own personal relationship with God. I would ask that all Americans pray for the heroic doctors and nurses, for the truck drivers and grocery store workers.
You mean like Pence did yesterday when he had that nice moment and you flatlined? By the way, I stand by my statement that he reads like a slow motion fart.
And for everyone fighting this battle. I had mentioned yesterday
Mentioned.
where I see the nurses
And they're putting on their stuff and they're just running in there.
rushing into hospitals, and they're putting on their outfits and they're putting on their masks and goggles in some
It's
cases.
like Batman, and they slide down the thing and they open up Shakespeare's head and they put the butt.
They're rushing into war. They're rushing into war, and I see people from apartment houses screaming and shouting and singing their praises.
Death to America. Oh, that's wrong. That was Jersey after 9/11.
It's an incredible thing. They're warriors. These doctors and nurses, they're running into buildings
Yeah, what do they need shields for?
and they're literally putting it on as the doors are opening. They're putting all this.
What is the video he keeps talking about? Because he talks about this this version of events, like they run in, like there. Is there a particular hospital where they have like this, like marathon like dressing outfit thing?
Stuff and running inside. And they're running inside to tremendous danger.
Yeah, without a proper shield in this battle, you like to call it.
Tremendous danger.
Tremendous danger. Really? I thought it was 15 and we're going to none, and it's just one sick old lady.
But most of all, I'd like to ask for your prayers for the families who have lost loved ones. Ask God to comfort them in their hour of grief. It's a great hour of grief.
It's an hour. No more than an hour, though, because we need you to get back to work. We need our economy going again. Don't grieve for more than an hour.
For our nation, for the world. This morning, I was talking 151. For 4 days, I said 151. 151 countries this morning. It's 182 countries.
I said, are there even 182 countries in the whole wide world on all the corners of the globe?
It jumped up.
I thought, like, in my mind, it went from a cube to like an 8-sided D&D dice in an instant.
A lot. So as of this morning, it's 182 countries are under attack from this monster.
Oh, so Godzilla has attacked in the middle of this. Great. We're fighting off a disease. There's earthquakes in Idaho, and now Godzilla flies in.
With the faith of our families and the spirit of our people and the grace of our God, we
Make sure you put your finger on the page so you don't screw up the faith of our family and the power of our God.
will endure, we will overcome, we will prevail. We have learned so much. We will be stronger than ever. And I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank the incredible professionals on the task force also. We had a big meeting today. We were calls all day long to so many different people.
Yeah, really? And you still had to have one of these gab fests for nothing?
And I think our package to get everyone working when we're
Don't say package. It upsets Mike Pence.
ready is really turning out to be successful. We may have to make it larger because
If you're coming in late, there wasn't supposed to be one of these. I had my entire studio dismantled, and I was trying this spray silver stuff that we had in a little container to see if it looked good for old man hair if I was going to do a sketch this week. And I figured, oh, I'll just wear it and see if it looks okay, and I'll do a camera test around it. And then he decided to have one. No, I'm not going gray. This washes out, damn it.
It's been really successful.
But I think it looks, I'd make a silver fox. I'm just saying. It makes me look, where's my glasses?
all of that comes back
There they are.
to this
Hold on,
country.
wait.
We want to get them back. We want to get our people back to work. Everybody wants to be back.
It's one of my, hi there. I'll be in my office Wednesday if you want any help with your report. But if you want a PhD, you're going to have to work hard like everyone else, not just wag your tatas around the classroom. Although the writing "love you" on your eyes was a nice thing. So
Back. We want to open up our country as soon as possible. So with that, I'm going to ask Dr. Birx to say a few words.
say something that resembles coherence.
And she's got some charts to show you. And thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Great. Super. Bye. Oh, now she's gone from scarf to shawl to drape.
Thank you, Mr. President. As you can
How does she keep that on one shoulder without sliding off? I don't know how that happens. Is it a staple?
see from the hopeful signs in Italy and Spain, where
That they've run out of dead people?
we see finally new cases and deaths declining.
You mean because they sealed everyone in and enforced movement limitations in their provinces with guns? And mayors were saying, if I see you out, I'm going to hit you with a flamethrower. That's working? Weird.
It's giving us hope of what our future could be. We wanted to give you an update on where all of the states were. We're looking at this as states normalized.
Look at the bottom of that chart right there. Hold on. Check this out. So when they first showed this chart, you remember when we saw this a couple of days ago? It was 2 states, these 2 right here. Maybe it was like California, Jersey, New York and Washington State, right, as these 3. And then all of these were flat. They were all down here. And they're like, this is fine. Look at that. Look at that climb. You know what this looks like right here? You know what this looks like right here? This looks like that right there. That's what that looks like. Because the behavior of these places and the population of these places was infected here. That's what that is.
Per 100,000
But you guys remember that chart?
citizens. It looks very similar to last week. We wanted to update you. We've been covering throughout the week the states that were moving on this map. You can see
Yeah, because we're 2 weeks behind. Oh yeah, sorry, you can't see the pointer when I do that. That's my bad. Maybe I can, hold on. I have an idea. Window, preferences, picture, page, perhaps. I bet you I can do it. Wait 1 second. I'll do it in a
see
minute.
very clearly where New York
They'll go in on it.
as a state, although this is very much still centered in the New York metro area. New Jersey is the orange line. The green line is Louisiana. That's followed by Massachusetts, and then Connecticut and Michigan are together in those lines towards the bottom. And then, of course, Washington, D.C. is now visible on this map, which was not visible before.
Thank you, Joe Carter.
And the yellow line towards the bottom is Washington State.
There you go. Wait, I think I got this figured
Next
out.
slide, please. So this just summarized all of the states we're tracking very closely.
Look what I did. I made the pointer really big. So now you can see what the heck I was talking about. So if you look at this, they have in the beginning of this, they had just those top 3. These were the ones we were seeing.
Closely at the
Right here.
county level, so we're
And then these,
tracing and tracking not only the epidemic at the state level,
Yeah.
but understanding what's happening in county.
right? Like, so see these that are popping up right here, that slope right there. That's all these other states that were flatlined last week that they were bragging about because they look like this. These all look like this section right here now. That break point. See that where it goes here and then it starts to rise because that's where the exponential trigger happens? Same thing here. The exponential trigger. That's how math works. God, these people are annoying.
By county with new cases and of course also the deaths. We're also triangulating that with all of the laboratory data, and just to tell you how we're kind of doing that. For New York, which you can see at the top, their serology is
no kidding.
Now about 36% positive. They were in the 40s. So day over day, their percent positive is finally starting to decline.
That, you can't count that. You're testing more people. So you're going to have more negatives because of the volume of human beings. The average person doesn't have it, 1 in 1,000. The more you test, the more you're going to get. Volume of tests that are positive will go up. So if you have 1,000 people who test positive, the more you test, you'll have 1,500 or 2,000 or 3,000. But the percentage will go down because you're including now in your counting the people who don't have it. Again, folks, can I just stress? I cannot stress this enough. Anytime you hear a news story of any sort from this point forward or looking back on something, I need you to look very carefully at the journalist or the health official or whoever the expert they're talking to. What if they give you the number, like 15,000 people killed by blah, blah, blah. You need to also know what the percentage is compared to other stuff. If they give you the percentage, you need to know the number. If they're not giving you one of those numbers, you are being manipulated.
New Jersey's is in.
They're trying to make it look better or worse. Happens all the time with violence statistics and salaries and all that kind of stuff. You want both. Then you can make an informed decision on what you're actually hearing.
Increasing, however, they're now up to 42% of the specimens that come to the laboratory are positive. Louisiana, 25%. Massachusetts.
It's because you're waiting till they're sick and you're only testing sick people. In New York, they have more tests and more people are coming in, and it's a bigger city, so you're getting more people who don't have it, who are coming down to a place, by the way, who are getting tested negative and going, whoo, and then walking away from the place and catching it on their way home.
Connecticut and Michigan, 20%. District of Columbia, 15%.
Those will be hitting 30, 35%.
Washington, 8%. And then Illinois, Colorado are at about 6%.
Washington spread all over the place. It was a perfect storm place for it to gather in a single place and wipe people out, but not to spread. Go to Seattle, you'll see what I mean. Like, it's not a social town like LA or New York is.
16%. Pennsylvania.
Not that way, anyways.
Which is also new to the graphic. Is
what? Oh, they're what? They're new? They're new to the graphic.
It's at about 12%. Next slide, please.
Yeah, because that's how it starts. You have 0, and then you have 5%, and then you have 8%, and then you have 12%, and then you have 30%, and then you have 40%, and then you start testing statewide, and all of a sudden, it starts to go down, and you're like, shit, I'm doing great. And then you go, oh, no, that's because we're now testing 1 million people, and most of the people don't have it, so we're patting ourselves on the back. Meanwhile, the infection is growing.
So if we could go back one, I'm sorry, we could go back one slide.
Run your own slides. Give her the clicker.
All of the states here, those are 38 of the states. 38 of our states have less than 50 cases.
Yeah, but look at the slope of them. Look at it. It's not a flat line like last week. When they showed you, this was Tuesday. Tuesday they brought this goddamn graphic out. Look at this. When Tuesday when they came out, you guys remember this. This was their big thing. We're gonna show you how big this is. Now look at that. Look right here. This is when they're coming out like Tuesday, like, look how good we're doing. Look at this. There's a couple of things kicking up, but most of these guys, like these guys, are not going anywhere. So they stop the week here and they're like, look at us, we're doing great. And since then, they're going up. Every single one of them. It's friggin' embarrassing.
Per 100,000. They are testing. Their laboratory results are consistent with that. Their seropositivity rate for their laboratories
Thanks
are
for the
less
host,
than
TLK.
5%.
Thanks for the host, TLK knitting. I appreciate it. How you doing? I'm going to be gaming later. I was going to be gaming earlier today, and then they had to have one of these stupid things.
So this is how we're tracking and triangulating both case reporting, mortality or fatalities, and also triangulating that with the laboratory. The New York metro area, New Jersey, Louisiana, and a series, and Washington State have all tested at a rate greater than Italy and Spain. I know many of you were tracking that. Remember, many of us, we pushed out a lot of those assays at the beginning over the last 2
What'd you push out of your essay? Wait a minute. Did Pence write this part?
3 weeks, and I want to just thank Admiral Gerard and HHS who's been working very closely.
Commandant Lazard? Oh, Admiral Gerard. Right.
To make sure that the states that were having an outbreak had access to all of their assays. Next slide, please. And then next one. So just to give you an idea.
Nope, it's not stapled on. It falls off or whatever. It's straight up like she's going. Is she wearing? She's wearing like a 1921 Gertrude Bell kind of a thing.
Idea of how we're looking at this. We look at cases every day. I want to just thank my data team.
Look how big that one went up and then it went down again.
They spend all evening compiling data. I get it about 2 o'clock in the morning. And it looks at all of these metro areas by their granular counties, so we can see the counties that have new cases. That also helps us identify the hospitals and understand what hospitals will need ventilators or PPE. So this is the Detroit area.
Gee, what would you say about this graph? Here's a good idea, and this would really help, I think, get this point across, is use healthy as a baseline, and then instead of having these case numbers ramp up, which can be read as positive even when you put them in the red, make it go like this, down from health. Because this is where we are, regular amount of deaths, normal health concerns in the United States, and now add the virus and we're going down. That would be something that I think he could fathom, but he's like, we're going up very good. Look how up we are. This is fantastic. This is like the stock market.
It's Oakland and Detroit, Wayne County. Next slide. We also track mortality. It gives us insight.
We made the sickness one red, but look how pretty blue they're. Is that because they're dead?
Into how
Are they blue because they can't get enough oxygen? Nice color choice.
How many clients are in the ICU and need care. We want to make sure that we're meeting the needs both on cases and really appreciating the frontline healthcare workers that are really saving many people's lives. Next slide.
Yeah, you know what also they're doing? They're watching people die that didn't have to.
This just gives
because they can't help them.
You an idea from New Orleans. We are now also.
He looks like a weatherman who had to have somebody step in for him. Oh my God, Sam's gone up again. Somebody jump in and start doing the weather. He's just staring at the map.
Tracking St. John.
We have is it a cold front or a warm front? We have a storm front coming in to get rid of the people I don't like.
The Baptist parish also, but this was New Orleans and Jefferson County, and really tracking those on a case-by-case basis.
What is he thinking right now? Oh, look at that. It looks like that chart's giving me the middle finger. I'm not giving that chart any ventilators.
To look for changes over time. And next slide is their...
Did she say clients? I missed that.
Mortality. And you can see it's starting to stabilize. So this is how we've been tracking.
Yeah, that's what I would say. I would say it's starting to stabilize with that. Look at those spikes.
States and counties and communities. But as we started, we just wanted to note again, we do see hopeful signs in Spain and Italy. They have completed nearly 4 weeks of mitigation.
Yeah, 4 weeks of mitigation to start bending the curve.
With people really doing social distancing, staying at home, ensuring they were washing their hands. If they have to go out to the grocery store, they're extraordinarily careful. They send one person from the family. And so
yeah, that's something that nobody's mentioned a bunch of times. I've been talking about it a bunch. I know everybody wants to get out of the house, but if you're going to go to the store, and you should take turns going to the store. And here's why. The idea being this, like, well, if we all go out at once and we just get our stuff, we're out less time, and therefore we have less chance of getting infected or something like that. The best idea is that if you go there, just have one person, because 2 people in a store are touching multiple surfaces. They're doing stuff that they wouldn't, that the other person might not do, right? So you double and triple your chance. If the contagion is at the grocery store anywhere, you triple your chances of coming in contact with it if you have multiple people from the family who then all go back. Does that make sense? So you want one person to go to the store. And if everybody's stir crazy, take turns. But don't go, hey, it's our trip to the store day. Well, let's all get out of the house.
We can really see that beginning to work, and we're very hopeful that over
In Spain
the next week
and Italy,
although we'll see rising
P.S. Boris Johnson is sick.
number of cases of people who lose their lives to this illness, we're also hopeful to see a stabilization of cases across these large metro areas where the outbreak began several weeks ago. So thank you for your attention.
Yeah, she gave him the back again today. She's getting tired of these meetings with him.
Thanks, sir. What I thought I would do is update on the air bridge first, and then follow up on Dr. Bricks and how
Burks.
we're geographically aligning the
They meet every day.
supply chain. So the air bridge, we had 3 additional flights
Oh
come
my God, he's going to pull the pin.
in today,
Oh, we're fine.
bringing a
Just gum.
million gowns, 2.8 million N95 masks, 2.8 million surgical masks.
These numbers are useless unless we know what the need is, and they know that.
11.8 million gloves,
He's making him read that list.
18.6 thousand gowns
Why so few gowns?
on 3 flights, and that material will be pushed out across the nation, delivered to hospitals,
Look at my general doing general stuff right out of central casting.
nursing homes across the country. Dr. Bricks went through the geography, and so over the last few days,
Yeah, why? I don't know what the deal is with the the low end numbers of gowns.
I've been aligning the supply chain.
And it seems like they have stopped counting pairs of gloves. They are now counting gloves individually because the number doubled and not because the supply doubled.
To those areas.
Dr. Bricks, Dr. Stone, Dr. Lufa, is that your name?
And then reaching down into those areas and extracting data from
Because of the leadership of President Turnip.
those areas on PPE burn rates. So, for example, I spent the weekend talking to...
Oh, my God. Trump thinks they're going to... Don't say that. Usage rates, because Trump's going to think that they're burning all the stuff we're sending.
The Chief
He said Dr. Bricks.
Operating Officer of Detroit, Hakeem Berry, for example.
River. You using the whole fist, Doc?
Then talked to the leadership at Detroit Medical Center, Audrey Gregory. Talked to the health officer in Oakland County, Michigan. And then also with the Chicago health officer, Dr. Allison Arway. So reaching down to a level to understand their needs. So we're geographically aligning the supply chain, right? So you can see Dr. Bricks went through these counties,
Burks. Holy shit.
and we're getting down to the county level.
Is this the guy helping Trump with pronunciation?
And then aligning it by priorities of point of care. Public hospitals.
By the way, I completely forgive this guy for messing up her name because people under stress do that type of stuff all the time. I'm only messing with him. Believe me,
First,
this is the least of our worries.
VA.
He knows her name.
Hospitals, private hospitals, nursing homes, first responders, acute care.
It's adorable.
Over the coming days, we will be making a push to the geographic areas that Dr. Bricks
Ah, man, give it a rest.
mentioned,
I
increasing
just defended you.
the volume through the supply chain to those areas to give them weeks, not just days worth of supply. Primarily using our industry partners that we are directing, Cardinal, McKesson, Medline, Owen Minor, Henry Schein, Concordance Healthcare, directing them to put product to the hospital door, the nursing home door, the first responders, directly to them. We're also working to push out millions of doses of
oh boy. Oh boy.
Hydroxychloroquine.
Hydroxychlorine. Great. Okay. Hydroxychlorine. He's giving. Is Dr. Bricks okay with you giving hydroxychlorine to people?
Right. We are working the distribution there to push the same thing to the same impacted areas.
The shame impacted areas.
Working it to get in the hospitals and to every pharmacy. And
why? 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 It doesn't work.
So my team is
unless everybody in the military has lupus and we just find out this way.
Back there right now, working the arrangements to make that to the hospital front door and primarily to the local pharmacies, so doctor can write those prescriptions and you can get it.
Why? It doesn't work.
Having to go to a hospital.
Great job. Thanks very much.
Thanks. Dr. Bricks. Oh, the dude was hiding behind him the whole time.
Thank you, Mr. President, Mr. Vice President. My last appearance here, I mentioned that the President had given the Department of Veterans Affairs very specific instructions to be as aggressive as possible.
Yeah, I got no problem with this dude and what he has to say and what he's working on. His stress level must be through the friggin' roof.
In response to the virus crisis, not only to protect veterans, but also to help the American people. As many of you know, we have three primary missions at VA. One is to support veterans' health, the other is to provide veterans with benefits, and the third is memorial services. But we have a fourth mission, and that is to support the nation in times of national emergency, both in war and in peace.
Great. So right now we're gutting the VA system for masks, gowns, and ventilators. Is that what you're going to tell me?
We provide a bridge from the federal government to the states and localities during these emergencies.
Is it our bridge? Have you asked Jared's permission?
As a result of that,
asking for a friend who happens to be the Antichrist.
I have ordered our veterans hospitals to begin preparing more than 1,500 beds to make them available both at the ICU and the acute care level to the states and localities across the country. As a result of that, we have opened up approximately 100 beds in the metropolitan New York area, in Brooklyn, and in Manhattan, and East Orange, New Jersey. We will be informing the governor of Louisiana, John Bell Edwards, tomorrow that we will give him access to our VA medical center in Shreveport, Louisiana.
You don't think he'll find out just now when you said it? You're just going to let him know tomorrow? What does he do? Is he just phone it in on Sundays? Is he not hearing this?
Come to the aid of the people of the Pelican State. I've also given instructions to initiate the fourth mission in Michigan.
I don't know.
We will be providing the people of Michigan access to hospital beds in both Ann Arbor and in Detroit. We've also provided a pharmaceutical trailer to be used by the governor of Michigan at Cobo Hall to support the
Cobo Hall. Love Cobo Hall.
Citizens of Michigan who will be coming into that facility for medical care. We have also informed the Commonwealth of Massachusetts that we will be helping them in their efforts to protect their most vulnerable citizens in 2 of their nursing homes. So, in accord with the President's instructions, the 400,000 men and women of the Department of Veterans Affairs are in this fight. We are in the fight not only for the 9.5 million veterans who are part of our service, but we are in the fight for the people of the United
I don't have a problem with this guy.
You all have just heard from several members of the President's White House Coronavirus Task Force, and we are truly blessed to have the kind of leadership that we have, whether it be Admiral Polovchek, who is
or anybody but the president,
organizing.
He's been a model, not that kind of model.
Distribution of tens of millions of supplies. whether it be Dr. Bergson.
Dude, don't brag about how many you have when you're still short. Jesus. All right, Pence, we're going to jump to the end of the questions, and then we're going to, yeah.
Dr. Fauci or analyze.
In that invoice, they're going to make sure that there's not going to be a run.
You're not worried about a run on any of these. Okay. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Mr. President, first, did you have a
We
chance?
do get orders for a lot more than sometimes we think an area needs.
It's the Jared answer.
Generally speaking, we like to either negotiate that down or give it to them
Negotiate with the states. How many of your citizens can you do without?
as they want. So we've had a lot of orders that we think are high, but we generally like, if we have, for instance, with the medicines and with other things, we like to give it to them.
We got plenty of the medicines. I got a whole stock back here
Every day.
of I got gallons of Clorox and Pop Rocks because QAnon said if you just gargle that and use it as a suppository.
We're building up and building it up very rapidly and deploying it.
Rapidly deploying. I use deploy whenever I see someone in camo.
We do get orders from some of these states where we don't think they need it. We try and get it for them what they want anyway. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, how magnanimous.
You mentioned the Prime Minister off the top.
Would he just call bullshit and then send it anyways? I don't think you need this, but all right.
Yes. Speak to him today.
What is that? What is it? What's the value of that conversation?
I didn't speak to him, no. I did get a call from the ambassador, and hey, it's a big move going to the hospital. That's a big thing. He's a great gentleman, so I just hope he's okay.
And then also, you mentioned the nurses, the doctors, the people.
That one scared him, Boris Johnson, because Boris completely followed what Trump was saying. They were two peas in a pod with this whole, it's not a big deal. I don't want anyone. I'm going to be shaking hands, so I don't really think of anyone. And then now he's on a respirator.
Celebrating. I'm sorry, the people that are gearing up and getting ready, the people that are applauding and celebrating him. Has there been any talk on any level whatsoever of some sort of either compensation fund or protection for nurses, doctors? Because there's been a lot of fear. There's been some people that said, I can't risk my family's livelihood. I can't go back to the ER. Has there been any discussion?
Well, we're talking about it, and we're talking about doing something
very strongly
for them, but we're really looking at the conclusion. We don't want to focus on that now. They're incredible.
We want to focus on sending them in the battle right now. We don't want to focus on how we're going to take care of them after the battle. What is it? Iraq war, anybody?
They're not saying we're not doing it. They go in with good equipment, with great equipment, and with stuff that's not so good. And sometimes they catch it wearing the best stuff you can buy, brand new, the best stuff. The
best. Some of them wear a garbage bag and they're fine. I don't know what the shit they're talking about.
Very tough enemy. But these are amazing people. No, we are talking about something, but we're really thinking about, let's get it finished first.
What we're going to do is just go get sick and we'll deal with whether or not we take care of you later.
Before we do that, please.
We'll send you into battle and then we'll see if your helmet works. You know what? Maybe the VA will be there when you get back.
The Surgeon General this morning was talking about the coming week being among the hardest and saddest weeks of our lives. He was talking about this.
It's going to be a tough week, but we get back to our economy and it'll be even greater than ever.
Being our Pearl Harbor, our 9/11 moment, you all are talking about glimmers of hope and stabilization. How are the American people supposed to bridge the...
Make sense of your gibberish changing day to day? Yesterday, we got to open our country. We got to open it up. We got to open our country before we even head up the apex.
Different descriptions that they're getting from this administration.
I don't think they're so different. I think we all know that we have to reach a certain point, and that point is going to be a horrific point in terms of death.
And then they'll let me know, and then as soon as we've hit the horrific point, I'll pretend that we're fine and go back to normal and create a second wave.
But it's also a point at which things are going to start changing.
You don't know until after.
We're getting very close to that level right now.
No, we're not.
And the next week and a half, 2 weeks are going to be...
3 weeks.
I think they're going to be very difficult.
Month.
At the same time, we understand what they represent and what that time represents.
No, you don't. Look at the chart, what it looked like a week ago. Look at the number of deaths that happened in New York. Know that that's going to be exponential. And know that the governor of Maryland said in 2 weeks, we're going to be New York.
And hopefully we can get this over with, because this is a very
Get it over with.
horrible thing.
Just get the death done with and let's just move on. Maybe if we had a sharper spike.
For the world. And look, we're one country out of 182 now that have 182 countries.
Can't blame me just because every other country's doing better at managing it than us. I mean, there's some third world countries, but
I have a friend of mine said he didn't know we had so many countries in the world.
that's you. Who didn't know we had 190 plus countries in the world?
182
And territories. And
82 countries are now affected by this. So we want to get it over with. Okay? Please.
Get it over with.
Those numbers, sir? Could I just ask one follow-up
Yes.
on those numbers that you were talking about earlier? How does that change the projections that you were making earlier this week
They're bullshit.
of 100 to 1,000
Well,
to 240?
we hope we can stay under those numbers.
Really? Did I ask you about hope? Or did I ask you about the change in projections? Because the projections that you guys showed, all the states that are starting to arc up now were flatlined. And she was saying if we keep those at that point, we'll keep it in the 100 to 200,000 range.
Those are numbers of death.
Those are numbers of death. Numbers of death. That's my third favorite Megadeth demos compilation bootleg.
And we hope we can stay under those numbers.
Really? Do we?
That would be
Better?
terrific. And as far under those numbers
Be terrific. If we could just stay under those numbers, that'd be terrific.
as possible.
It's like he's buying a car. Hey, if I could get this thing for under 45 grand, that'd be terrific. What, $45,000? No, 45,000 dead people. If I could just get this car.
Now, if we did nothing, you know that number too.
Yeah, is that an option? Are you going to now tell us that doing nothing, it's an option? You know what I mean? Let's think about it.
But the American people really stepped up. So did
Yeah, and said, the American people stepped up and said, we don't want to do nothing and see 2 million people die and all the other people who can't get hospitalization die along with them.
the professionals, they just really stepped up. So we're hoping to stay under those numbers. And that means the minimum and the maximum, but we're hoping to stay under the minimum number.
Oh.
You know what that number was?
Yeah, we do. Do you? 100 to 250,000. Say it.
Right, but do the numbers that you were talking
IMHE says 83,000 in this cycle alone, and then over 200 over the course of the disease when it comes back in the fall, and then again in the spring, and these waves back and forth over the next year.
about today, have they changed those projections?
I would say the answer is yes, but I would also say that we're not going to know really in terms of a final toll until we get out to the
Till the people are dead.
end. And we're probably, possibly not so far away. We're getting closer. But
We're probably, possibly, I mean, nothing says leadership like probably, possibly, not so far away.
it's our goal to stay as far under that minimum number, the minimum number as possible. Okay? That's what we want to do. Go ahead.
Really? Is that the goal? Burks, do you agree with that? Can we get Burks up? Because I don't, Miss Bricks?
Mr. President, as President of the United States, your words carry enormous weight in this
Well, let's not get carried away.
country and around the world. And while you acknowledge you're not a physician, you do promote these medicines extensively here. How do you not go so far as to be giving medical advice? And you said yesterday...
Because I say, if you just talk to your doctor, why not? I say, what have you got to lose? Talk to your doctor. Ask him. I sound just like the purple pill ads on TV, except I don't tell you what the side effects are. I just say there aren't any because it's been around for a long time.
Some of these medicines, even though you don't have symptoms, are you still planning to do that? And how do you calibrate?
Yeah, take the hydroxychloroquine and the zithromycin. Take it. Take it, big boy. Mr. I ran to Walter Reed for a heart flutter and pretended it was part of my physical. When's he going to finish that physical, though, by the way? Does anybody know? Is it on the calendar?
Being
Excuse me, I've got to go finish my physical.
enthusiastic and not playing doctor.
Yeah.
Because I want...
That's a nasty question, and I want our country to get over this very quickly.
I want people to live. And I'm seeing people dying. And I've seen people that are going to die without it.
So why not pour it down their throat and see what happens? I don't have to die just because they're useless.
And you know the expression, when that's happening, they should do it. what really do we have to lose? We also have, this medicine's been tested for many years for malaria and for lupus, so it's been out there.
Yeah, and they know that it has side effects. And if you have hypertension, which is one of the main reasons why you would end up hospitalized when you have COVID-19, it could kill you.
So it's a very strong, powerful medicine, but
yeah, but they're giving it anecdotally to people who don't even need hospitalization, the same people who get healthy if they just stay home and drink Gatorade.
It doesn't kill people. We have some very good results and some very good tests. You've seen the same test that I have.
Why don't you just shove a fistful of Tic Tacs up your ass? And other than a side effect of minty farts, what have you got to lose? It'll have the same healing statistically as hydroxychloroquine and zafamicin.
I have.
Son of a bitch.
In France, they had a very good test. They continue.
They didn't do a test.
But we don't have time to go and say, gee, let's take a couple of years and test it out. And
Why do you think we do these tests? So that people don't die from side effects and the other medications that they're on.
Let's go and test with the test tubes and the laboratories.
The boring science stuff. I know more about this. My uncle taught at MIT for forever.
I'd love to do that. But we have people dying today. As we speak, there are people dying. If it works, that'd be great.
Yeah. That's why you get the FDA to clear certain stuff that might have anecdotal evidence that can work and let them do limited tests if people want to do that. But you don't tell people to go down and bug your doctor into giving it to you if you have the sniffles.
If it doesn't work, we know for many years malaria, it's incredible what it's done for malaria. It's incredible what it's done for lupus, but it doesn't kill people.
Two of his followers, one of them's dead and the other one's in critical condition.
That's one of the things with a vaccine. When we have a vaccine, we have to do tests because when you inject that vaccine, when they take whatever it is they have to...
Is this where he shifts to being the anti-vaxxer president? That's when it's bad. We want treatments, not vaccines. Vaccines are the devil's work.
We have to make sure it doesn't have a horrible impact, destroy somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Good. So we have to test it for a long period of time. This one, not so much because it's been out there. Now, I'm not acting as a doctor. I'm saying, do what you want.
You know, I'm not a drug dealer. I'm just telling you where you can get heroin and how to inject it and where to leave the money in the old stump on the edge of town.
But there are some good signs. You've read the signs. I've read the signs.
Oh, that's what it is. What'd you do? Was it chicken bones in a bowl or tea leaves? What were the signs? Was there a comet when you thought of it? Oh my God, you see that light in the sky? No, I don't see those lights in the sky because I don't stare at eclipses.
Another one, there's some very good signs also. Different going together works very well, but there may be an indication that if you have a problem with your heart, you should take what we call the Z-Pack.
That's what we call it, do we? You shouldn't take what we call the Z-Pack.
You shouldn't take it, and that's okay. But I would love to go...
I would love for you to take those pills and walk through any metropolitan hospital in New York City.
To a laboratory and spend a couple of years testing something. We don't have time. We don't have 2 hours because there are people dying right now.
You don't have 2 hours to what? What are you just going to do? Like if he was at the hospital, literally, if someone was crashing, he would just run over to the pharmacy, give me whatever you got.
If it does help, great.
If it doesn't, they're going to die anyways.
If it doesn't help, we gave it a shot.
Tell Grandma we gave it a shot.
We gave it a shot. That's the way I feel. You know, we passed something. Yeah, I would.
Right to try. He's going to go with right to try now. Right to try is about treatments that have been tried in other countries but haven't gotten FDA approval, but have been used for lengths of time for the actual disease that people are trying to cure, like pancreatic cancer, shit like that. So treatments in Europe, treatments in Mexico, treatment in Canada that they want to try down here, but they haven't gone through the FDA process. Right to try allows that. It doesn't allow you to like cross-script nonsense.
Be very serious about taking it. We passed something that I'm very proud of. It's called Right to Try.
Right.
For 45, 50 years they've been trying it. It makes so much sense. We have the greatest doctors and labs and lab technicians.
And still, they can't come up with this shit. They keep wanting to test things to make sure it won't make your veins explode and your heart shrivel up.
Greatest medicines, the greatest minds in the world. Everybody admits it. And when we're close to having something, or when we have something that tests incredibly well, you couldn't use it for years because they would take years and years to test. So,
no, you just had to become part of the clinical study to use it.
With the help of also Democrats, I got it.
Yeah, it's a normal bill.
Bipartisan, but
there's been 3 different versions of this kind of stuff over the years. It's just another name for
They've
it.
been trying to get this passed for decades. You know that. It's called right to try.
Yeah, I know.
So,
read it.
So a person would be diagnosed terminally ill from something.
Right. Terminally ill. Where the way the bill works is that at the point when the doctor says, we have done everything within our power medically to save you, you are now free to try other remedies and we won't stop you. That's not what this is.
And
this is, you just came in, we have treatments for you, but we don't know, it has no efficacy. This isn't proven to work anywhere. This hasn't worked in Mexico for 10 years treating cancer. You're drinking your own urine. Like,
in the old days.
Thank you, Brown Fox.
Meaning before a year ago, they would say, do you think I could try this pill, this whatever, this medicine that's testing so well? No, you can't do that. You can't do that under no circumstances.
No, under a bunch of circumstances.
They'd leave for Asia. They'd leave for Europe. They'd leave for, if they had money. If they had no money, they'd go home and die with no hope. We got a thing called right to try.
Yeah. There's been Democrats, Kucinich tried to pass something like this.
If somebody's very ill, terminally ill, they're going to die. And it was very complex. It wasn't as easy as it sounds because there were huge liability problems.
Yeah, because the government could be liable for the fact that if you go and try something weird and you die, your family might be able to sue, like hydroxychloroquine and zithromycin.
Drug companies didn't want to do it because they didn't want it on test results because these are very sick people, so they didn't want to bring down their test results. The insurance companies had tremendous problems. I got everybody in the room. I said, look, we'll sign a waiver. The person taking it will say, we're not going to sue. The family's not going to sue the drug company, not going to sue the insurance company, not going to sue.
You get free guinea pigs. They get to test a drug on themselves.
The state, the city, or the federal government. Okay? It's called exculpation.
Yeah, it only works on treatments inside the country. It has nothing to do with the stuff they would go to Asia or Mexico for.
And
that was the only difference. It just gave a waiver to pharmaceutical companies inside the United States. It was so pharmaceutical companies could test stuff on you here so you wouldn't leave and try other stuff.
It's a very simple agreement. I don't know why nobody ever thought of it, but they never thought of it. I did. And we got it done. Now we have right to try, which is actually...
Randy, he said if you had no money, you'd go home and die. I don't think he was ordering that, but I see what you mean.
Opinion, much more difficult than what we're talking about here. But if there's a medicine or something, a possible cure or something that's looking good, and somebody has something they're going to die or they're very sick, they take it.
They're giving, okay, hydroxychloroquine and zithromycin, they're giving to outpatients who show signs of COVID-19. They're not giving it to people who are on ventilators. They're not giving it to people who aren't, because it does not help. And all the people who are feeling better after they take it were in the category of people who would have felt better anyways. It is literally a placebo test.
And you know, we've had some unbelievable results.
No, you haven't. You've had some very believable results. In that, 95% of the people that get this do not need major medical intervention. The 20% that do seek medical help, 15% of that overall group, 15 of the 20% will just need oxygen for a time.
Unbelievable results. And it also gives the people hope. Yes, please.
And they put people on antibiotics so that they protect them against their lungs getting bacterial buildup, because that's what kills you, is the pneumonia. but your lungs look like ground glass.
The doctors who are treating coronavirus patients, they have the medical expertise to determine whether or not they should prescribe hydroxychloroquine.
And many of them
And
do.
there are
Thank you, Gary.
already clinical trials in place looking at hydroxychloroquine.
Sure.
But I want people to go down to Florida and buy it from any, kind of biker pharmacist they could find and guzzle that shit. So if it works, I'll know. And if it doesn't, they can die and I don't have to, I can move on to the next thing.
So
They should be
why
finished in
not-
about a year.
Why not just let the science speak for itself? Why are you promoting this drug?
I'm not.
I'm not. I'm only buying 29 million doses.
I'm just
You
saying.
come
Very
out-
I'm just pushing the FDA to do this.
simply, I'm not at all. I'm not. Look, you know what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. Pretend it's going to be over before it is. That's what you're trying to do.
I'm
Well,
trying
you
to save
come out here
lives.
every day, right, sir, talking about the benefits of
I want them to
hydroxychloroquine.
try it, and it may work and it may not work.
And if they die, it's no skin off my nose. I'm not going to try it.
But if it doesn't work,
It just kills them.
it's nothing lost by doing it. Nothing.
Yeah, there's people who've died.
Because we know long term what I want to save lives. And I don't want it to be in a lab for the next year and a half as people are dying all over the
It's already
place.
out there. Doctors are already able to prescribe it
That's
off-label,
right.
They don't need any help.
All I'm doing
So what
is
do you
saying,
accomplish?
well, I'll tell you what I accomplished. We bought massive amounts of it.
Right. And you don't even know if it works. That's the point. And the reason you're buying massive amounts of it are not so that people can use it once it works. It's because you told everybody it would work and they've depleted what we have in the country for people who need it, who have lupus, for fuck's sake.
29 million doses of it.
Yeah, because the pharmacies sold out of it when you started telling people to chuck it down their gullet as a prophylactic against it.
We have it coming from all of the labs. We're actually now doing it here because in case it does work, we want to have it. And we've given it to drugstores. We're sending it all over.
You're sending it back because they sold it all out.
FEMA's doing it. FEMA's doing it. We're doing it through different channels.
For people with lupus and RA and malaria.
Many different channels, including the companies that make it. It's a very special.
You mean, the people, wait a minute, hold the phone. The companies that make it are making it? What a weird business model.
thing. Now, it may not work,
It doesn't.
in which case, hey,
What have you got to lose? In which case, I wasted 10 minutes of every single... Thank you so much, Jill Carter. I wasted 10 minutes of these stupid lip-flapping fests on a drug that doesn't work.
didn't work.
Didn't work. It's your fault for being weak, America. If you were only strong like Boris Johnson.
It may work, in which case it's going to save a lot of lives. Now, a lot of people say if the people walking in prior to getting it, if they take it, it has a profound effect. Well, maybe
You mean prophylactic effect, and no, it doesn't.
it does, and maybe it doesn't.
It doesn't.
I don't want to wait a year and a half to find out.
Find out what? If I told him yesterday that orange Tic Tacs cure the disease, he'd be buying stock in orange Tic Tacs and handing them out to everybody.
And only CNN would ask that question. Fake news. Go ahead.
Sir, I have one for
Bunch
you
of
on oil, but
fakers.
first I was hoping to ask Dr. Burks a question. The president just said that, based on the most recent data, that you've seen some change in the projection. I'm wondering if you could...
Yeah, it's worse.
You obviously have a week's more worth of data since the sort of 100,000 to 240,000 potential death figures that you gave us last week. So I'm wondering, with all the caveats that
Caveats. Ooh.
this is sort of based on continuing social distancing and that we might see, if one city pops, things could change dramatically. What are the sort of range that you're now looking at in terms of...
He can't figure out if this is a question he likes or not. He doesn't understand it. So he's bobbling, trying to find he's bobbing and weaving, trying to find his loose zone where he can, I think is that an uppercut or a hug?
Total death impact.
I think the most important thing right now is when we were talking about why we are hopeful. Well, hopeful because last time I was here, I wasn't able to really tell you that Italy and Spain.
We're not Italy and Spain, for Christ's sakes. We're dwarfing their numbers.
Were coming
They had a total lockdown
across their apex.
because they had a total lockdown.
and coming down the other side.
Because they were threatening people with flamethrowers if they went outside.
And I think, to me, that's extraordinarily
We have 9 states that aren't even bothering to do full lockdowns.
hopeful. They just completed 4 weeks of really
4 weeks.
strong mitigation. And
Strong mitigation. We're doing medium to low end mitigation.
I think that's our word to the American people, is we can look like that. 2 other countries look like that now. 2 other countries with a very similar experience to our experience, with higher case numbers and higher mortality. So that's what the promise is. The promise is, if we do this, we could potentially be better. Now, Dr. Fauci and
If we did this, we could potentially be better. That's not a statistical projection. That's not what he asked.
today got another update from another independent modeler, and the numbers came in close to that 100,000 number again. But we believe, Dr. Fauci and I, that if every American follows the guidelines, 6 feet, washing hands, not social gathering, that will have an even greater impact. And the other side of the equation certainly is our remarkable healthcare providers, our respiratory therapy.
Yeah, they're the ones who are going to die en masse. We're going to lose, like, at minimum, 1/10 of our medical professionals that work in these hospitals over time if they don't have the PPE they need. It's not about even the amount of people, you know.
Therapists, our laboratory technicians, our nurses and doctors, they're saving lives every day. And so that changes the number too.
I also think that Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx are very impressed with the American people.
Really? Oh, gee, thanks. I'm glad they're impressed with us.
And I'm not going to put
And
words in anybody's mouth.
yeah, and watch him about to put.
I would never do that, but I am, and I will say that they are doing maybe a better.
What do you mean putting words in people's mouth? I would never, you know, you guys probably wouldn't say that you're proud of the American people, but I would say that because I'm that kind of guy. You know,
job than we all thought even possible. When you look at streets in New York where there's nobody on the street, no cars, no nothing. I see it. You know, I've
seen pictures of it, and it's
seen the
woo
streets for a long time, and they're packed all the time. And now you see that
they're not packed.
Nobody.
The opposite packed.
Other places,
I could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue, and there wouldn't be any witnesses. There wouldn't even be anybody to shoot. I could shoot myself in Fifth.
You look at what's going on in California, where they're doing a fantastic job. They really are. The government.
Yep. What do the governors of New York and California have in common?
The governor's doing great.
What is it? Party-wise, I don't know. Who do they hang out with? What kind of?
They're proud of them.
Voting history do they have? They're probably
proud of a lot of people. Proud of.
Just proud of people in general. I'm proud of Guatemalans and Italians. I'm proud of Boris Johnson's.
A lot of people on the other side, you know, a lot of people. Really, I'm really delighted to work with people that, frankly, on other issues.
Like I walk into our meeting about coronavirus and I go, this is a delight.
I didn't get along so well with. We disagree on this or that. We don't have to go into that now. But we're getting along with a lot of people. And they're happy with us. We're happy with them. But I really believe that the American people are doing a better job than anybody would have thought even possible.
Why? What's wrong with Americans that we couldn't spot this or whatever? Like, thank you, Benny Loco.
And that's one of the reasons we can even be talking about the kind of number.
Sorry, do I have to do some brooming in the chat? I apologize. Yeah.
That we hopefully will be talking about, which is at the minimum level instead of the maximum. Or
oh, that's a good goal. Minimum death as opposed to maximum death, you know.
Beyond, it's not even the maximum. It's much beyond the maximum level, which would be horrific. Yeah, please.
Yeah. Beyond the maximum amount of death would be horrible. What's the maximum amount of death? Everyone?
Go ahead. Mr. President, Secretary Esper mentioned the Department of Defense might be moving in the direction of using face coverings. Former Vice President Biden had mentioned that he was going to be using a mask whenever he goes out now. Are we getting to a point where
Trump doesn't go out?
We might see members of the coronavirus task force also wear face coverings?
No, they're all staying in.
Well, it was voluntary as I saw it yesterday, and certainly if they'd want to, I would encourage it. I would have absolutely no problem with that if they wanted. We had a long meeting today. There's good separation, but the task force meets, and I would certainly have absolutely no problem if they wanted to. I think, frankly, it's something, at least for a period of time, where it might be advisable. And, you know, it's advisory, and we'll see what happens. Yeah.
It's advisory, and we'll see what happens. That's leadership.
Yes, please.
Thank you.
I'm not doing it, but but Biden says he's going to do it, and he thinks it's a good idea, but that's an advisory, and I'm not going to. We'll see what happens. Well, we'll see what happens. Doesn't that apply to anyone who outlives this? Are you not going to see what happens? I haven't heard any reports where people are blinded by this.
On Project Airbridge, we've seen reports that Chinese shipments of testing kits and PPE have turned out to be faulty to some capacity. We obviously don't have oversight.
Not here. No, not here.
No, but to Spain in particular.
Well, you've seen in Spain, and you've seen it different. They're not sending faulty things to us.
So we're not concerned that any of the PPE
we test it. We look at it. We check it out. Please.
So, one of the things we're doing to prevent that
You tell him, Burning Bush.
Is using those 6 companies that are the ones in the major supply chain. We are actually going to facilities, looking at product,
okay.
Inspecting it, and clearing it before it comes here. So we've heard those things. That's why we're doing that.
Okay, thank you. A follow-up for the doctors, if
and we're also sending it to from other locations.
Right.
And when it comes to the ventilators, which are very complex, we are now building. We have now under construction literally thousands of ventilators.
Literally.
But so far, I think our projections on ventilators have been right. They've been correct. Did you have something for who?
Well, for yourself and for Dr. Burks and Dr. Fash.
Yeah, they sent broken stuff.
If they want to take a crack at it. Some of the models that you guys are using, the IHME model in particular, has been very accurate when it comes to projecting deaths over the last couple of days. But there's a couple of other metrics that they seem to be pretty far off on, specifically hospital beds. Are you guys, happy with the models you're currently using? Is there any need to adjust those?
Well, it's turning out that we need less hospital beds.
Right.
That's what you're talking about. And that's what we may have models, but we've been sort of saying that. In New York, we were saying we think you're going to need less. Now, let's hope that continues. But right now, I heard Governor
We're not even at the arc yet. They're projecting. You don't need them today.
Cuomo this morning, and he was saying less hospital beds, also less death.
More ventilators.
That was a very big thing. First time. Less
people aren't staying. The only people who they need space for are regular, injured, and sick, and that was a projected number in addition to this beyond until they had lockdown numbers.
Today than yesterday, right? That's a big thing. But also less hospital beds. That means less patients, because basically it's less patients. And we were saying that.
Basically.
And it also means less ventilators. So there's a lot of not a very positive things happening. Okay. Please.
Thank you, sir.
Wait till next weekend.
With Prime Minister Johnson hospitalized,
yes.
I noticed a few minutes ago you
Yeah, now it's real. I know that guy.
were standing
We have the same
right
hairdresser.
next to Vice President Pence.
Or de-dresser.
Are you considering staying away from each other just to make sure that we have continuity of government?
The
executive branch?
We have this tiny platform, and I'd love it to be wider. You're staying away from each other. Mike, you were tested?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Like recently, so was I a couple of days ago.
Yeah, the whole White House is tested. This is dumb. And they should be. The White House staff and everybody on the task force should be repeatedly tested every single day. And if they physically interact with somebody who's coming from one of the sites, those people should be tested before they meet with the rest of the task force. You have to have a functioning, running government, for Christ's sake. Stop asking about these, like, why aren't you wearing a mask on the stage? God damn, he's not going to the grocery store.
keep interacting with
We are.
groups of
We
people.
are. We are. You know, here we are on this platform.
Hands, holding hands.
And
But
I get next to him, I don't breathe. I'm only kidding.
he doesn't breathe. Have you seen, like, my breath particles are so big they can't fit in your nose sometimes.
We are sometimes forced into positions that
Mike?
I'd rather be away, but it's you know, you're all looking for questions. Mike's a very big part of this. I am. It's very difficult maintaining like this distance on this little area.
I just wanted to ask really quickly, under what circumstances
They both look a
would
little
you consider-
embarrassed. Hey, does he punch them in the nuts when he walks by? Because everybody covers their manhood like he's going to knock them one and get away with it.
leveling imports, tariffs on imports of oil to the United States?
Well, if the oil price stays the way it is because of people that really want to see it go up.
Yeah. Russia and Saudi Arabia? Fuck them.
I say, we want to save a great industry.
Yeah. Then tell them to stop producing so much. We're not in charge of their industry. It doesn't even have anything to do with COVID.
We built a great industry in this country. If they don't get along, I would do that. Yeah, I would do tariffs, very substantial tariffs. Because
why? We're only exporting stuff. We don't take any major oil from anywhere else. We get some Canadian tar sands if we need them.
We're independent now. We have our own oil.
Right. Why? Who gives a shit about tariffs?
And if I did the tariff,
Europe can work out the fight between Russia and Saudi Arabia if they want to. I can't imagine why they would.
we essentially would be saying we don't want foreign oil.
No. The price drops out of the bottom of oil and Saudi Arabia and Russia get run up a tree because of it. Screw them. Like, why in the world?
We don't want any foreign oil. We're just going to use our oil. And that would help to save an industry.
How about not any oil at all? How about nuclear and solar and wind, and we mix those in there, and then we have clean natural gas, and we wean ourselves off that eventually.
Industry, and you know, it's become a tremendous job producer, and it's great to be independent. We're independent. Our energy is now independent. We produce more oil and gas than anybody else.
Yeah. So why are you on the phone with the Saudi prince and Putin working out their oil problem
the country
that drives the price down?
And that all took place over the very...
Which has nothing to do with COVID.
...in time. Now, in the meantime, I'm seeing $91 cents a gallon out on the road. Okay.
And we'd rather see $91 a gallon because that really is... I don't get angry nighttime phone calls from Putin when that happens.
A lot of people are happy. I see very inexpensive jet fuel. We're trying to save the airline industry. But I want to save our great energy industry, and that's what we're doing. Yeah. So I would...
Yeah. Then they can lower production and move staff to processing. How about that? How about pumping less, processing more? How about build refineries? What?
I would absolutely do that. And what we'll do, price will still be very low, but what we'll do is we'll
make more plastic.
Save, and very importantly, we'll save tens of thousands of jobs. One of the other things.
We're picking, this is picking winners and losers. Because every small business, every business that uses trucks, driving, any of that kind of stuff is helped by lower gas prices. The oil industry is hurt by it. He's picking one over the other. He's picking one particular industry over every other industry that uses gas and diesel and makes plastics.
Things we're doing is having oil shipped to our strategic oil reserves, okay? And, you know, we're buying it for the right price and we're shipping it.
No, we're not buying it for the right price. You're letting them put it in the strategic oil reserves and then they can sell it later. Are they paying us storage fees?
In some cases, we're storing it for nothing.
Right. For nothing. We're storing. Oh my God. What business, farmers, is the U.S. paying for your food storage. Anybody.
They're there. We're filling up our...
Any other industry. The airlines. Does the government supply you with hangars? What is this?
Reserves with this very inexpensive oil.
Big hug, Hal Vickery. No worries. Good to see you. I appreciate you. I didn't even want to have one of these today, so I feel you, brother. I feel you.
Nobody thought they'd ever see a price. This is like from the 1950s.
Yeah, leave it there.
Where they had big dollars, okay? So no, I would...
Big dollars. Yeah, I don't know if you know that. Back in the 50s, you needed a larger wallet. The bills were like this big. It was ridiculous or whatever. Like, you used to have to bite into a quarter to see if it was real.
Tariffs, if I had to. I don't think I'm going to have to, because Russia...
If you're listening, drive up the price of oil.
Doesn't benefit by having this, and Saudi Arabia doesn't benefit by having... oil and gas...
Yeah. I don't care. Russia sends hit teams to kill journalists and expats in Germany and all over Europe, and Saudi Arabia grinds up reporters they don't like, cuts them into pieces. Women can't drive that. Like, oh, I mean, why do I give a shit? Like, where's the America first in this?
They have major sources of income, so it's obviously very bad for them. But we have to.
Who cares?
We have an industry that's a very important industry. And
they can shift from drilling to refinery.
It's
because that's the way the market's going.
Really formed beautifully. It was the virus that killed it, because what happened is it's down 40% from the day this happened. 40%. Otherwise, it would be doing.
They were already fighting this before that happened.
Phenomenally well. So that's it, yeah.
This is one of the biggest chunks of his response of anything today.
Mr. President, can we get an idea of timeline for those people that are waiting for the stimulus checks? How many more days they may?
They've already got them. I don't know if you know, but you're sitting on one right now, and you've got a stimulus check, and you've got a stimulus check. They're under your chairs. I'm kidding. Don't touch them. They've got gum that's probably got COVID on them.
Have to wait. And then Speaker Pelosi today, or I think last night, said in the next bill that they would like to see additional stimulus checks made. Have you guys thrown around an amount of how much money?
No, but I like the concept of it. I think it's...
I want to do an infrastructure bill.
It's good. We're
shovel-ready jobs. I forget who said that, but...
talking about a different way of doing it, but I like the concept. I'd like...
I'm going to put them in a slingshot and...
The concept of infrastructure. Our country has to be rebuilt. They spend all this money in the Middle East, $8 trillion. We're up to now $8 trillion in the Middle East. We got to rebuild our country.
Yeah, I know. Democrats have been saying that for years.
Okay, we have to rebuild our roads and our schools, our bridges. We have to rebuild our country. So I like an
sure did, McGruber.
Infrastructure bill. I also like money going directly to people. It's not their fault that this happened, and I do.
Yeah, no, it was. Who was in charge of watching out for us? Who had a system in place that we could?
I think this, especially the faster we could get it open, our country. Can you believe we're talking about our country?
Yeah, you're the president. What else would we be talking about? I don't need you for sports scores.
Getting our country open.
No, tell me your favorite new artist of last year. Who should have won The Voice, Mr. President?
The faster we get it open, the bigger the boom, the bigger the rocket.
The bigger the boom. Uh-oh. That's don't freeze frame that hand gesture.
Rocket ship going up. I think it has a chance to go.
The rocket ship.
Really quickly, relatively quickly. I'd like
quickly, relatively quickly, or not at all, or we'll see, but maybe.
I'd like to see very quickly, but we'll see. But part of the stimulus and part of what we're doing, that will help it. And the nice part is we're paying practically zero interest rates. You know, we're paying very little. It's one of the reasons I like the infrastructure bill, because we're borrowing, we have a strong dollar, and the advantage to a strong dollar is everybody wants to invest in this country. They all want to buy our dollar.
Mm-hmm.
On the direct payments, just in terms of timeline, are we talking still 2?
Yeah, I know you want to do an infrastructure bill, and I know you want to borrow the money, but when will people who live in the country get checks to cover their bills so they don't get thrown out on the street and starve to death?
2 weeks, are we talking?
Like, you know, the question.
10 days?
I think so. Yeah, from what I'm hearing, that a couple of weeks. That's what I'm hearing. Yeah.
A couple of weeks, we'll see. All right, we'll let you know.
Please.
But it's already happening.
Sir, I wanted to follow up on the hydroxy question. I think
just for the numbers, has there been any tension with the medical staff on that? Are they in agreement with
Yeah,
all these
we
numbers?
discussed it with the staff. We discussed it with FDA. Well, FDA approved it, so you know.
So it must be good. Yeah, they say yes. They approved it for testing.
Which is another point. I mean, it's been approved by FDA.
For testing.
Which is very important. If it
For testing.
wasn't approved by FDA, then I couldn't do this.
No, you can't do this. It's approved for testing. And before the test was done, you bought 29 million doses. I mean, granted, I know you bought them so that you could replace the ones that all your friends had scarfed up really quick.
But FDA's approved it, the hydroxy.
The Hydrox cookies? Is that what's going to do it? Yeah, give me some Hydrox cookies and some chlorine, like the doctor said. My doctor is the guy dressed as the Bush next to the president.
If this turns out not,
Thank you, Jill Carter.
not to work, are hospitals and doctors going to be exculpatory from the federal government under the right to try?
No, we'll see if it works. No, it's.
Doctors, give it a shot. Give it to them. Will they be legally responsible if it doesn't work and it kills people? We'll see. We're going to have to see.
It's not gonna hurt people. It can help them, but it's not gonna hurt them.
Somebody's already dead and one's in critical condition. That's just from a week ago.
That's the beauty of it. You see, it can help them, but it's not gonna hurt them.
Yeah.
What do you have to lose?
Your life.
Okay, question in the back, please.
Yeah, obviously we know anyone can spread.
Well, if Chuck keeps spamming him, please get attention. Okay. Sorry. Is he on which site is he on?
Disease, right? Unwittingly.
Right.
So why even have a few businesses open? Why not just shut everything down? There are grocery stores that are open, fast food places. Why even take a little chance? Just shut it all
We're
down
gonna have
temporarily.
we'll answer that question later. All I can say is that right now things are looking really good, and opening up with a bang will be a great thing, and there's nobody going to be happier than me. Please, go ahead.
Just to follow up on your comments about the ventilators.
Yeah.
The IHME model suggests that 32,000 ventilators will be required by the peak in mid-April. GM is not expected to have ventilators ready
32,000 will be what?
required across the country.
In addition to the ones that we've already sent? Don't forget, we have almost 10,000, a little more than 9,000 right now. And those are ready to rock, should we need them.
Ready to rock. Ready to
So
rock.
if we need them in New York,
what?
We might not. If we need them, but
ready to rock.
They're ready to move. We're already military. It's a military operation. We are ready to move. They'll be moved immediately.
Then move. What are you waiting for?
Whatever section of the country we need. Would you like to answer that, brother?
Yes, sir. So, correct. FEMA's working on a plan to be able to move ventilators. So, for example, the DoD gave another 500 ventilators. They're on the move, being staged at Fort Dix to be able to
Fort Dix. Remember when Richard Dix came in here?
rapidly deploy them to locations.
Oh, thank you, Kim, for the new Patreon. By the way, I wasn't planning on doing this today, but here I am because I said I would be. Every day they have one of these things. I'm going to come out here and take the air out of these tires because he's just coming out here and bullshitting every single day. If they sent Pence and the team out here, Pence and the team out here, and they started doing, just giving us a baseline update of what's being delivered, what it is, I would have no problem with this. I would just leave it be. But he comes out here doing these little campaign wags. Forget it.
And to include, you heard the president mention states giving to states, things like that. So there's the ventilators that aren't in use that conceivably we could rapidly move as well.
Right. But you mentioned that there were
thousands like
that are
Oregon
currently being made.
Yes.
So I just wondered if there was any update with GM and Ford, just because.
No, but they're not going to be long. They've started. GM, Ford. We have 11 companies, approximately 11 companies building them, and
if we'd only started a month and a half ago,
we're going to have a stockpile for future. Hopefully, we never have to use them. They should have. The hospitals, the states should have bought a stockpile. They didn't do that. So we've made up for it. But if we have extras, other countries need them. I mean, you see, UK needs them badly, France needs them badly, Italy needs them badly. They need them. So It's complicated. It's a big piece of equipment. It's expensive, and we'll be able to help other countries after we take care of.
Yeah, because we lagged so far behind, we'll now create some. We'll have a bunch of leftovers because we have more dead people than we do ventilators.
Our needs.
Awesome.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, sir. On infrastructure spending, as you have
I actually chose you, but that's
Oh,
okay. Let him go. That's all right. Go ahead.
On infrastructure, you've remarked about how empty the roads are. Is there any thought, is there any way to...
States are, by the way, doing a shit ton of road fixing right now. If anybody goes out, if there's any state industry stuff going on, essential services include like road crews and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of road construction going on already.
Speed up infrastructure. I mean, the Beltway in Washington, it takes forever to do any road repairs because of all the traffic.
I know, and because they don't do construction techniques that work and that are better. I mean, I see a highway, and which is what I do. I do construction.
No, he doesn't. First of all, he doesn't do highways. Secondly, his company hasn't built a building on their own since the late 80s, if at all. They buy stuff and remodel it at best, and they've been a licensing firm since the mid-90s. They like partner with people to put their name on somebody else's building.
I did. I see a highway. That's good, but it's got a bad top. And it's...
Is that the technical term from a construction point of view? Guys, I didn't know if you know this, but the surface of a highway is called the top.
It's got a big base.
And it has a big base. And
concrete base underneath.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll see them come in. I don't want to say where, but I could tell you, I could give you plenty of examples.
What? Just say it.
And they rip the hell out of it. They take out the base. They take out everything. Now they pour a new base that isn't as good, isn't as deep, isn't as thick. The concrete base was fantastic. The footing,
somebody corrected him with footing.
It takes forever. Wait a minute. It takes forever. And instead of scraping out the asphalt or whatever may be the top, scraping it off and put...
Or whatever may be the top. Whatever's the top of a highway. He's a builder. I don't know. I'm deferring to him.
Putting the new asphalt down, putting the new median in. They could have done it. And then they open the highway and it starts to crack. The reason is because it hasn't been set. And they spend 10, 15, 20 times more money than they have to. I never believe when I watch these people doing highways and doing roadways and doing work, how they take the...
So the biggest problem we have with infrastructure in this country is we're rebuilding a lot of them and we're doing it poorly. Not that we have an aging infrastructure that hasn't been fixed.
Most expensive solution, and the bottom line, the job itself is far worse.
You should have just left it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's the Trump infrastructure bill.
What I'm getting at is taking advantage of the fact that so many people are staying at home, not on the roads.
Why don't you fix the roads now?
Is there a way to do it?
Yeah, why don't you fix the roads now? Yeah, that's what a lot of states are doing.
But hopefully they're not going to be staying at home for long. Hopefully.
Well, yeah, all right. They are till April 30th.
This will be out, and we're not going to have that kind of time. If we have that kind of time, we made a big mistake. Please, go ahead.
How many
You made a big mistake. What are you talking about?
rapid tests has the federal government already deployed across the country, and which regions have received those tests?
Who has that information? You go ahead, Mike.
The 15-minute test has really been a breakthrough. I reflected on the progress that they've made in Detroit to put first responders back on duty with the Abbott.
Yeah, that's where they belong. They don't belong anywhere else. They're good for staff, for top and bottom of the day. Test them when they're coming in. Test them when they're going out.
Laboratories test. Abbott Laboratories started last Tuesday producing about 50,000 tests a day. And there's, I'm informed that there are about 18,000 of these machines already all across the country. I mean, they are...
50,000 tests a day? No.
They're actually the same machines that you use to get a strep test quickly when you go to the doctor. But now Abbott is surging these new 15-minute coronavirus tests. out to healthcare professionals and healthcare facilities around the country. In addition,
What is it? An adapter and an update?
as the president said,
What's the difference? Do you need a new machine? Can the old machines be updated to look for that as well? If so, then every doctor's office in the country that can run that has it. That would be kind of an important piece of information.
FEMA has purchased 1,200 of these devices. We're distributing them to all 50 states and the Indian healthcare system, and then we'll be distributing the tests. Dr. Burks, is there anything to add further on that? Okay, further.
No, that's it. I'm happy standing behind Trump as he breaks wind all over the picture of the White House.
Already received these tests?
Let me ask Admiral Polovchik about the 1,200 devices.
I didn't hear the question.
Have they received the 1,200, or what's the timetable?
I believe they're on the shelf at Abbott. A good majority of
That means no.
them.
Tuesday they go out.
I believe they're on the shelf at Abbott.
Right, yes, sir. So I don't have the exact numbers. I think there is some manufacturing in there, but
go out
large
Tuesday.
balance of them are on the shelf.
Yeah, they're already there. Just trust me on this.
Some have gone out, by the way.
We're almost done with this, by the way. It's compared to the other ones, it's mercifully short.
But the big bulk of them go out on Tuesday. Yeah, please.
Okay, tell us Tuesday that they went out. And Wednesday, I want to know when they arrived, if you're flying one plane and dropping them off.
In these previous briefings, you referred to the federal government as the backup. Today, there's definitely a different approach here, I think, with the distribution. You know, the sense of it in listening to your presentation today is that you are embracing taking a leader role for...
Well, I like the word leader, but I feel like there's a hook in this worm.
distribution. Is there a change?
No, there's not
No, I'm not going to start leading.
a change, but
I've always been a leader. I just lead from behind, in the rear with the gear.
supposed to be the backup, but like in Illinois, the governor couldn't do his job. So we had to help him. We're sending 600 ventilators. We're building a hospital.
They need 1,000.
In McCormick Place. We're doing, so we have some people that we're not able to do. We have other people.
Which is part of the normal procedures in a national emergency, in a state emergency, or...
that needed a little help. We had, in New York, we had to give a lot of help, but we've worked very well with Governor Cuomo and with Mayor de Blasio. But no, we are meant to be the backup, but we've taken on a much bigger role than that.
You're not meant to be the backup. You're meant to be the backup when it's a tornado. When it's a nationwide emergency, you're supposed to take the lead because the whole country is affected.
And that's okay.
If you want to be president, I mean.
I have no objection.
You want to actually be a president, like do the job.
To it. Now, in some cases, it's worked so well where they're actually now seeing, they think they're over the big problem, and they're actually calling us and they're saying, you can take your equipment back now.
Yeah, because they're treating it with the seriousness that you blew off for weeks. They might need those back, though, if the neighboring states listen to you.
But we're really deployed as a backup, but I feel we're much more than that. They've done a much better job. I will say this.
Great. Let's hear it.
I don't think that the people that have represented this country, the federal government, whether it's the admiral and the generals and all of the people that we call
the captains and the lieutenants
to the fore, they're heroes for what they've done.
Yes, agreed. I don't have a problem with that. You don't get points for defending the good job they're doing. They're supposed to.
They've been able to do in a short period of time.
They're supposed to be able to do it in a short period of time. When will the war start? We're ready. We'll tool up now. When did the attack happen? 2 o'clock this afternoon. We'll tool up. We'll be ready to fight back in 6 months.
They took a system
that was broken.
It was broken.
You've been president for 3 years.
Just like
at some point, it's yours.
We did the military.
Some would even say on day one, since you have 3 months of lead up.
Military was broken. Our military was depleted. It was broken.
No, it wasn't.
And we've rebuilt our military.
Nah, you just overspent.
we've rebuilt this whole system too. And in a way, Kelly, I appreciate your question because
In a way, I appreciate it.
you're hearing all of the things.
I appreciate it because you said I'm being a leader.
Things that we're the millions of masks, the hundreds of thousands of gowns, and they're surgical. They're
not just evening gowns.
They're protective gowns.
Oh yeah, not the kind that come with a tiara.
At the highest level.
Protective at the highest level. Are there miniskirt versions?
We're getting it to the various states, and most of the governors are very happy. Now,
none of them are happy. All of them are dealing with something horrifying right now.
A lot of times, it's politics. Maybe I do the same thing. I don't know, but they'll
maybe you do the same thing. You don't know.
Try and act not so happy. I will tell you, when I speak to them, or when Vice President speaks to them.
Yeah, when Pence speaks to them, I'm sure they're way happy compared to talking to you.
They're singing the praises of all of these people. So I always take umbrage when somebody says something about what we've done. Now,
no, they're not saying something about what we've done. They mean you and handing stuff off to frigging Jared. And Jared is deciding based on what they want to give you per state versus what the model is.
To do this should have taken, to do what we've been able to do and to build it to a level, should have taken a year.
No, it shouldn't have.
Should have taken
No. Why do you think everybody's lazy until you show up? You think everybody just didn't care about their fellow citizens? That if any other president was in, you would have just gone, I don't know, do we really want to save lives?
They did it in a matter of weeks, and we're helping states. No, it's them. As an example, New York had the right to buy 16,000 ventilators. They could have bought them.
They didn't need them because they thought a singular attack would, if it overtaxed their system, they would have both the federal government and other states who were not under chemical attack to draw from for the kind of ventilators they would need. Storing the 16,000 and letting them rot from a budgetary situation standpoint doesn't make sense.
They didn't. I understand why they didn't.
No, you don't.
It was a very expensive
No, you don't.
purchase,
No.
Very expensive.
No.
And that's a lot, 16.
You stored, that's how many you guys stored, and you didn't buy them, and you actually cut the maintenance contract on them last year.
1,000.
So you sent a bunch of broken ones to the States.
And they chose to do something else with their money. I understand that. The problem is when something like this comes along, which you don't expect. Look.
You don't expect. You prepare for if you're an adult in charge of, the federal government.
1917.
Right.
It's a long time ago.
Uh-huh.
Perhaps 100 million people died.
Worldwide.
It's a long time ago.
Right.
So people don't think it's going to
Yeah, we didn't have computerized ventilators back then.
happen. I would have, frankly, did anybody in this room think a thing like this could happen?
Yes.
But it happened.
Yeah, some of the reporters in that room wrote articles about it in 2017.
And we built up a force. This is a military operation, as it turned out. It really is, with FEMA, with the Army Corps of
Is he saying 1917 because of the movie?
Engineers. Army Corps of Engineers, and you were very gracious on that point. The Army Corps of Engineers building 2,500 units of beds and everything else. Now, and then Governor Cuomo called, and he wanted it to go COVID.
He wanted to go COVID. He said, can we go COVID? I'd like to go COVID with these.
Meaning for the problem.
What? Explain it. For the property? Oh.
And we said, well.
Let me think about it. Jared, what do you think?
It wasn't supposed to be that way.
It wasn't supposed to be that way. We made you use it for what we said you should use it for.
But we want to get it done. And we moved military personnel. So now military personnel are operating it. And I'll tell you what's good. It hasn't been very full. That's a good thing, not a bad thing. It hasn't been. Now, maybe over the next week something will happen. But it hasn't been. But we have, because it's better than the other alternative where...
Really? Is that what?
We run out. But they built actually 2,900 beds. And we have we built 4 medical centers in New York. We built 4 hospitals, 4 medical centers, and a lot more than that. It's such an honor to have done it.
an honor.
But the people that did it are amazing.
Yes, they are. And they're ready to do it at any time because they care about their fellow citizens and they chose this line of work. And being proud of them is not the same as facilitating a situation where it is easy, effective, and where there's enough support for them to do their job.
And they have to be appreciated by the
We do appreciate them. We think you're a dick.
It's not me. They don't have
You're a dick.
to appreciate me at all.
We don't.
I don't care about me.
Yes, you do.
They have to appreciate the generals,
They do.
the admirals,
They do.
the doctors.
What they don't understand is why the doctors, the generals, and the admirals that you're talking about can't do the things that they need, because when they call you, you go, well, did he say nice things about me?
The nurses. I mean, we're
Did that woman say nice things about me? Then send some ventilators. But if not, watch it.
bringing now 3,000 people in that are medical professionals that are coming from all over the country
Mm-hmm. It's an emergency, dickhead.
to help New York City, help New York State, and help many other places.
Many other places. You know, you've seen my map, the map that says New York, New Jersey, and many other places.
I just think it's incredible what they've done, and I don't think that they've been appreciated. Me, you can forget about.
We will.
Me, you can forget. Yeah, I actually mean it. They have to be appreciated.
But yeah, everybody does appreciate them. The problem that they have on is not with them. Oh boy. Jesus.
Go in the back, please.
You in the back. An OAN. Give me a sweet tartar. Come on. Something about what does it feel like to be so virile in the middle of this?
That you see in the lights at the end of the tunnel. And yesterday you said...
I do. I see light at the end of the tunnel. If I didn't,
yes.
I would not be very thrilled with what we've done. No, I see light at the end of the tunnel. I think indications are some of the numbers coming out today. I think, we had a very good meeting today.
You mean all the people who implemented stronger sanctions and activities and stay-at-home policies and bought up all the ventilators and bought up all the gear that they could because they're rich states that did well in the early part of this? Do you feel like things look good in those states? Like what Inslee, who was running for president as a, what was he running as?
We're seeing things that we don't even report because we think it's too early to report. No, I think, we're seeing...
It's too early to report some of the things you're seeing, but try hydroxychloroquine. I think it's going to be great.
Things happen that are very good. And we also know, all of us, including the medical professionals, that we have to open our country up. We have to get going. We have to open our country up. No country was designed for this.
Oh my God, we heard this yesterday.
You close it?
Change the fucking record.
We're in the midst of the greatest economic boom in
glory days.
History for any country.
Our young girls, glory days.
Had the greatest economic boom in history.
Mm-hmm. Same track that Obama was on when he left office. Obama brought the stock market from 6,400 to 19,600. You have nowhere near the growth that he had even before it cratered because you ignored this threat. Thank you, Joyce.
We had the most people working that we've ever had, almost 160 million people. And then from 160 million, they want nobody to leave their house.
Right, because they'll kill someone.
You use the term cold turkey, right? That's called cold turkey.
We called that, we quit working cold turkey? Is that what it was? Is there a patch for unemployment?
A country's not designed, this country is not designed for that. We have to get our...
Is cold turkey the name of the gestures he makes with his hands? Like he moves like a turkey with those little white things on the ends of his feet. It's cold turkey. What the shit?
Country back. And I think it's going to come back, and I hope it's going to come back very quickly. Yeah, please, go ahead.
Oh my God, just get it over with. What do you got? How many questions do we have left? This is absurd.
Sir, the First Lady has been tweeting and encouraging people...
Oh, wait, we got a Fauci question coming up.
Has she been
No, she feels that way.
encouraging you to wear one?
She feels that I would wear one. I mean, I just generally am not in a, like, I should, would you like me to wear one right now and answering your question? That would be a little awkward, I guess. But no, I mean, I would wear one if I thought it was important.
Thank you, Andy.
She likes the idea of wearing it. Yeah, she does. A lot of people do.
I love the idea. It's fantastic. I think we should bring back the burqa.
Again, it's a recommendation.
I'm really pushing for Sharia law in the United States. I think that would really help with, you know, the kind of government I would like to have.
And I understand that recommendation, and I'm okay with it.
What about your family in New York? Are they going to be wearing them? Are you encouraging them to wear them?
I don't talk to them. They don't talk to me.
Wouldn't
It's a
you
draw.
be surprised?
I wouldn't be surprised. I don't. I'm so close with them, you know. A lot of times I tell them, "Are you there?" And then there's no noise, and I go, "Oh, they're probably wearing a mask." I
Dr. Fauci, Mr. President?
Sure. What would you like to know?
If we're going into this most difficult of times,
Mhm.
how can the American people sort of emotionally prepare for that? And while the president is talking and is eager to see the country reopen, how do we balance the mitigating factors that still need to take place before we get to that?
Doctor. And by the way, he'd like to see the company open too.
The company. Oh, that's a nice little Freudian slip there.
He's called an American who loves our country.
He's called. I got a nickname for him. He's called an American who loves our country.
Okay, so part of the answer to your question, I think, relates to two other questions I heard, and I think it came from the back about how can you, on the one hand, have said yesterday that this is really going to be a bad week at the same time that we're talking about the light at the end of the tunnel. It seems to be inherently contradictory, but it really isn't. And it has to do with what we explained before about the lag in when you look at the indications that Dr. Birx and the president was talking about, where you see a flattening out of cases, and you don't see the realization of what that means until 2 weeks later. So right now, we're seeing, as we all said correctly, that this is probably going to be a really bad week. That is a reflection of what happened 2.5 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
So if we start seeing now a flattening or a stabilization of cases.
That's based on the fact that Americans started taking this seriously before the president did, and that's why the blue states like New York, like California, like Washington State are going to start seeing it taper off. But you're going to see a rise in all the states that blew it off for another week.
What you're hearing about potential light at the end of the tunnel doesn't take away from the fact that tomorrow, the next day, it's going to look really bad.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got to make sure we realize we're always talking about a 2.5 week lag. So I want to make sure, because I think a couple of people asked that question.
Yes, like Florida.
It's really not incompatible with what we're saying. Now, with regard to what do we tell the American people, what we've been telling them all along, that the only tool but the best tool we have is mitigation. We know it worked in other countries, and we're seeing how it's working here. So if we really want to make sure that we don't have these kinds of rebounds that we're worried about, it's mitigation.
Listen to me and not to him.
Mitigation, mitigation.
Don't listen to what Trump says about reopening things quickly. Blow that off. Listen to me.
That's the answer.
We need a month of this. And watch him. Trump's moving in. But we got to get our country open. We got to open it up. We need to open. Get out of the way, Fauci. We need to open up us. Try the hydroxychloroquine. Open your country.
Yeah.
What's the message for people in those places that have not been the focus?
It's the same thing. It's mitigation, mitigation, mitigation. In fact, the famous Vice President chart is
President Trump's coronavirus's guidelines for America. Did you get yours in the mail? I got mine in the mail. We got 2 copies of it. This is good in case we put them up, and then you can do stereoscopic viewing. It's fantastic. Thank you, Jill Carter, for the sticker. Appreciate you. And thanks, everybody, for the super chats today and the hanging out. I know this was kind of last minute because I didn't really do any kind of booster on it or let anybody know. Because I wasn't expecting on doing one of these things. So I appreciate you guys jumping in here. It means a lot.
Is that this is the minimal of what we should be doing.
The minimal. It means minimum. But
everyone should be doing that. And
everyone. To quote Gary Oldman in Leon the Professional.
Everything on here, one way or the other, points to physical separation. Whether it's no crowds, whether it's 6 feet,
He said, go back inside.
Whether it's staying away from theaters and
Who knew that quoting Gary Oldman in The Professional would save our lives?
and restaurants or what have you. Exactly.
Doctor, you worried at all about people?
Yeah, thumbs up, subscribe. I'm here every day. Put the notification bell on. That'll let you know, although it does send out a tweet on all my channels and stuff that lets people know that I'm coming on. If you want to know about it, if you want to become a supporter, go to patreon.com. There, I sold it. Okay. Now back to what we were doing, and we can get out of here.
Are you worried? I mean, because a couple of days of this,
I keep trying to do the work part of it, and I just get so caught up in just having fun with you guys.
I think people
What was I thinking?
are about ready to go nuts staying in their house. And I'm just curious, are you worried at all that after 7 days from now, people are going to say, look, I gave it my best shot, but I got to get out? I mean,
I wouldn't say I'm worried about it because I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, from what I've seen, and I mentioned it the other day, my own experience, is that people really understand the responsibility that they have for themselves, for their family, and for the country. So this is about all of us. This isn't just about us. Because if everybody does their part.
Not a shameless plug, Gary. Shameless pug. That's adorable. That needs to be a sitcom right now. What I did was not a shameless plug. It was a shame-free plug, and it's an important distinction that I think we all need to make.
You are going to not have those kind of rebounds that we're worried about.
Yeah, the ones we're worried about Trump talking everyone into.
How many additional asymptomatic cases do you think there are currently in the United States? There's
Yeah, that was a question we had 2 days ago, and Dr. Bricks went left and right trying to stay away from it.
1,000 more confirmed cases. How many asymptomatic, given what we've learned?
We got to do the we don't have enough tests.
We don't know, and even
that's it.
Among us, good friends that we are.
We don't know. Look at Trump. I think I know everything.
We differ about that. I mean, it's somewhere between 25 and 50%. Yeah, in other words, about the people that are out there, yeah.
25 and 50% of what? The population of the country?
And trust me, that is an estimate. I don't have any scientific data yet to say that. You know when we'll get the scientific data? When we get those antibody tests out there.
Right. We don't have that.
And we really know.
And we'll know if there's life on other planets when the aliens land. Cool, great.
What the penetrance is. Then we can answer the questions in a scientifically sound way. Right now, we're just guessing.
And we made great progress with the antibody testing. Fantastic progress.
Have you? How? How we made great progress with the antibody testing. Do we have it? No. Do we need it? Yeah.
And would you also weigh in on this issue of hydroxychloroquine?
Great progress. So fantastic. Everybody's doing a fantastic. The antibodies, they're doing a fantastic job.
What do you think about this, and what is the medical evidence?
Thanks, Robert.
Yeah. Maybe 15 times. You don't have to ask.
He's your medical expert, correct?
He's answered that question 15 times.
What question 15 times? What? Wait a minute. I was reading what you guys were saying. What question did he not let him want to?
Testing. Fantastic progress.
And would you also weigh in on this issue of hydroxychloroquine?
Yeah, that's what it was.
What do you think about this, and what is the medical evidence?
That question?
Yeah.
Maybe 15 times. You don't have to ask.
He's your medical.
He's going to give you the same answer, which is it's anecdotal and you shouldn't be taking it.
Expert, correct?
He's answered that question 15 times.
Dr. Fauci, why are you not wearing
Oh, that's ugly. Look, I'm going to start blocking on some of these questions.
What do you mean? Why am I not wearing a face mask now?
Because the president's been tested and the smell I'm getting used to.
Okay, there are a couple of reasons. One of them is that part of in fact, the major reason to wear a face mask is to protect you from infecting you. I had my test yesterday and it's negative.
Good.
Okay.
That's a very
Good answer.
Very good answer.
Very good answer. If it was true, it'd be even better.
All right. I think that really could be it. That was
Please.
I love that answer, especially on the face mask. I thought it was very good. Go ahead.
What do you mean you love the answer? It's either true or it isn't.
Records show that federal agencies did not begin.
Oh, stop it. Who are you with? By the way, who are you with? Who are you with?
The Associated Press. Agencies did begin bulk
That's
purchases of
another beautiful
respirators and
Are you ready?
95 masks
Are you
until
ready?
mid-March.
Let me just answer your question, because I know exactly, same question you ask all the time. Ready? They have done an
It's
unbelievable
first time I've
job in delivering for the Associated Press, which is,
It's an organization of press. It's the Associated Press is now the enemy.
Not so great.
Question was, well, like, how N95 masks aren't getting delivered. He's talking about they'll make them, but they'll be there too late and all that kind of stuff. How are they going to get them to places if they don't have enough?
Not like it used to be. The people that you're looking at, FEMA, the military, what they've done is a miracle.
No, it's their job and they're great at it. But they can only fly stuff that exists to places they are told to take it to by the people in charge.
What they've done is a miracle.
No, it's their job.
In getting all of this stuff. What they've done.
They walked straight across the Hudson.
The States is incredible.
No, it's very credible. It's their job.
And you should be thanking them for
they're asking you, dummy. They can have planes that can logistically take stuff there. They can have plans to do it. But unless you've ordered people to make enough, they're just empty planes.
What they've done, not always asking wise guy questions.
Wise guy questions. What kind of New York bullshit is that?
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Great. Happy Palm Sunday. That's how Jesus would have done it. What would Jesus do at a gathering? Look at, oh my God, Fauci's developed a twitch. Every time Trump walks by, he's like, ugh. You got through it. You can tell they bitch in the hallway about him. That's so funny. Did you see Fauci just going, you made it, man. Oof. And it's Burks. Okay. It's Burks. Criminy. Holy God. Well, kids, I wasn't planning on jumping on here with you, but I'm glad we did. Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us. You and I. I feel bad that I didn't have music today when I started, but I dismantled all my stuff because I'm working on rebuilding my studio. I thought I had the day off because they weren't going to have one of these friggin' things. So now, luckily, I have my green screen, so you don't see the wires and everything I pulled, and the desk is all everything's gone. It's so sad. It's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of minimalist. It's very Pier 1 right now. But I will. I'm working on getting the setup better and having the better access so I can make my decision on how I'm Skyping people in, and I've got to test a couple of things so I can get people rolling into this. Thanks, Kenaroo. And thank you, Georgina. Yeah, this is, thanks, Jude. Thank you, Joseph. You rock too, man. Thanks, Julie. I'm not the only one here who says criminy. No, it's one of my favorites. Richard Custer, thank you for bringing up rest in peace, Bill Withers. Why is this not going up? Wait, there it is. Okay, sorry. Now I got it. Yes. Adios amigos. Close enough. Thank you, Jude. Hey, Patricia. Thanks for coming back. Thank you, Venus Flytrap, for hopping in. I appreciate all the jingly hearts during the thing. It's the super hearts. I appreciate that because apparently I need a bunch of them. So if anybody's on Periscope, fire away with the super hearts. I don't know. It helps me manage the stream later. I don't know. And I'll make it. Thank you, Robin. You're awesome as well. I appreciate it. See you next time, Adam. I'll see you tomorrow. Cosmic Rose, thanks for being here and supporting. Can't Stop Lying. We love you. Yeah, I'm trying, KT. We just got to get through this thing. I am going to mock this thing every time he does one because it is not helpful. The day he comes up and says, here's the team, see you later, I'm going back to work, I'll leave them alone and I'll play clips of stuff you need to hear. But for Christ's sake, thank you, lady. Lady Shay. I think that's what that said. And yeah, I'm just, but until that time, thanks, Adam. If he wants to turn this into an ego fest, forget it. Thank you. I appreciate you my scopes. I'm doing my best, Jim. I really am. And I appreciate you being here. It's nice. I always look in the chat to see if you're there, make sure you're okay, and I hope you're well. So thank you, Michael. Thanks, Noel. Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. Yeah. Pier 1. Yeah, you know, like the catalog, like there's just nothing on there. Thanks, Jeff9Cow. By the way, nice memes for the last couple days. Appreciate those. Trump is definitely getting cranky. Thank you, Jill. Thank you, Patty. Yep, 212 days to election, and if we have to go down there dressed as the boy in the bubble, we're going to do it. Thanks, Horror Beauty FX. Thank you. And absolutely, Dana. Thank you, Cosmic Rose. Thanks, you are too. And Trump has the same illness as Hitler. Really? Is he on meth? I didn't realize. I guess that's the Sudafed you're talking about. And thank you, Kevin. I will see you guys later on. Thanks, Noel. Thank you guys for being here with me and, you know, soldiering through this stuff. It's just, oh, thanks, Noel from Lockdown, Ireland. You know, I'm part Irish myself. I work on my accent. I got to learn my Gaelic. It's only proper. One of my favorite Irish anecdotes is when I think it was called The Devil Within, the movie that Brad Pitt did with Harrison Ford. And Harrison Ford went to Brad Pitt. He goes, "You've been working on your Irish accent?" And Brad Pitt goes, "Yeah, I've been working on it quite a bit. I've been working on it every day." He goes, "Let's hear some of it." Love it. Dave Allen forever, or I suppose I should do this. And we'll see you guys later on. If you haven't seen Dave Allen at large, between now and tomorrow, it's something worth binging. There's a ton of it on YouTube just sitting there. It'll make you feel good. You guys are lovely. I'll see you later. Have a good night.